Hi guys, so we are back again with another reading, and this one is all about a message from your future self. So we are going to see what messages you in the future have for you now. So it could be some guidance, some reassurance, maybe some wisdom of some kind. So we are keeping it open-ended and letting future you steer and take the lead on this reading. And if this is your first pick a card, you guys want to pick the pile that you're feeling energetically drawn to. Today we have some cards for you guys from the Food of Fortunes deck by Josh Lafayette, and I love this deck. I don't get to use it a lot because it's not a strict tarot deck, but it has a lot of fun descriptions of food. So I do want to mention to you guys that if you are still making up your mind, you want to go with the one you're really energetically drawn to, not necessarily your favorite food or the one you would order right now. Although if you've had like a weird craving for pancakes that usually doesn't happen for you, or you feel somehow energetically drawn to ice cream or something like that all the time, it's like, it means something to you, that can be a message. But use your intuition and go with the one you feel drawn to on a deep level. And usually it's that first one you get right away. That's the one to go with. And don't second guess it or question it too much. Just boom, go ahead and go with that one. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. I also want to mention really quickly that I do have my Patreon up, and the last video I posted is a fun tipsy reading all about your future spouse. So definitely check that out if you want to join the fun over there. It's the beginning of the month, so a great time to join. Although this is a timeless reading, so whenever you're watching, by the way, this tarot reading will still apply. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey, pile one. So if you guys picked the stack, this is going to be your reading. So for your tarot, you guys got the Seven of Cups, Knight of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, King of Swords, and the Empress. So I feel that the message coming through straight away for you guys is maybe that you guys have been trying to manifest something and have been a little concerned with it not coming through right away. And it's kind of a message, first of all, to persevere, but there's multiple messages I'm getting. First of all, I think it's really interesting that we got the stack of pancakes. I'm just noticing that now. And to me, a message I'm getting is almost like you guys have been putting in the work, but you haven't seen the rewards yet. And it's almost like you have built like each layer up and you haven't gotten to the point where you can put the syrup on and the butter. But know that you guys are doing the work. You are putting the work in. You are preparing yourself. It is getting ready and it's a process, but it's like you are stacking things up and you're almost there. You're almost at the top. So keep going. There's also a message about your mindset, though, that some of you guys might have been feeling negative or getting down in the dumps, and a reminder to you guys of how much your mindset affects things. If you guys have been questioning this timeline and being like, oh my God, it hasn't come in yet, it's never going to come in, this is never going to work out for me, or like I wanted this to happen but it's not going to. This is your reminder that your thoughts create your reality and you decide your future. So if you guys have been saying negative stuff or feeling really down in the dumps or feeling negative, we have the Knight of Swords and the King of Swords. The swords are by far the most negative element in the tarot, and whenever we see a lot of swords, especially, the suit cards, those can talk about having a negative mindset, having sorrow, having a mindset that's kind of pessimistic. And so for some of you guys, maybe things have been happening that haven't seemed right lately. And this is a reminder that it's always darkest before dawn. And it's so important when you find yourself mentally getting off track to just put yourself right again, right? Like it's fine to get off track once in a while. It's fine that when something goes wrong, you think like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. So long as you take your time to adjust your mindset back, you take your time to get yourself back into the Knight of Wands energy, into being enthusiastic and expecting the best. Because I do feel like there's a strong message that your thoughts are creating your reality. And so it's like some of you guys might be feeling negative, and I'm getting a message that it's always darkest before dawn. So for some of you guys, you've been working on something and you're like, I really haven't seen forward momentum, and what the heck's going on? Why isn't it happening? Why am I not seeing this breakthrough? And there's two messages. One, you will have your breakthrough that you guys want. It is going to come, But the other message is that you need to work on your mindset and perfect that a little bit, because you guys might have been being negative, and that is slowing down this progress that could happen much faster if you would just accept the best. I keep hearing in my mind, be like water, which I know is a Bruce Lee quote, but also water is considered the most powerful element. And that's the thing, is like water can erode rock, it can erode, it can blow out a fire. No matter how hot that fire is burning, water can douse it in like seconds. You know what I mean? And why is water, which is usually stereotyped when people like talk about the stereotypes of the zodiac or astrology means, they talk about water signs being like, oh, they're so pathetic, like just Cancer crying, Pisces crying, just Scorpio being like, well, no one thinks Scorpio is pathetic, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of people think water is just not that powerful, and they couldn't be more wrong. There's a reason why people say be like water. That's because water adjusts. And over time, water understands that the path of least resistance actually can wear away and make you reach your destiny so amazingly strongly. And when you go to the Grand Canyon, which is one of my favorite places on the planet, it's literally unbelievable. Like, I think it's one of those places that you have to go there to believe. And I've heard from other people as well that, like, of all the tourist things that people will tell you, like, oh, you should go, that's amazing, and you go and you're like, oh, this is cool, the Grand Canyon, it's completely will take your breath away. It is on another level. And the reason why it is so deep and so vast and so huge is because it was eroded away by water. And the vastness of it, I mean, it's literally so massive, you can't get your head around it. And there's multiple parts of it. That's the thing. It's not just one deep canyon. There's like, it's a huge, massive canyon that it takes a really long time to drive around it. I've been to both rims, and so it's like it's literally beyond human comprehension how big it is, and it was all made by water, and it's one of the most breathtaking things that you could imagine. Humans could never build it even if they tried. And so that's the thing, is sometimes we need to like adjust ourselves to a certain situation and not be fighting so hard, not be so resistant to it, and just go along with it. Just kind of have a mentality of like, everything's okay, it's all going to be good, and adjust and be calm and be chill, and not be struggling so hard and being pessimistic and driving so hard and pushing so hard, and just be like water. Just adjust to it. Just accept the situation as is, and not be mentally in turmoil, trying to fight, trying to wonder, like, how am I doing on this? Oh my God, this person's doing that. Oh my God, this means this. Well, that hasn't happened, and this was supposed to happen. That is an attitude of resistance, and we're not going to see our manifestation come through. So I feel like the message from your future self is you guys will have this success, but it's almost like this might be the holdup. This is the lesson you guys will have to master. And then once you get this, it'll happen overnight, because that's how manifestations work. There is no time for spirit. There's no time on the other side and in other dimensions, right? So when we want something and decide it's ours, it can happen immediately for us or with divine timing. And sometimes when we are about to have a huge manifestation, that's when spirit will bring in that final test where it looks like it's definitely not going to happen, and all the factors are against you, and in your logical mind you're like, there's no way this could happen, the timing's off, or just this is happening and I see this. And so I almost feel like for some of you guys, you're in that test moment, and they want you to be like water. They want you to stop resistance. They want you to be calm and go with the flow and be in a positive mindset. And even if there's someone who's coming against you, someone who has bad intentions for you, again, the best thing you can do is be like water. Just float through it. Just don't let them get to you. Just send them the best well wishes. Just send them peace and love and harmony, because that is the best protection. When we are like water and we stop resistance, we stop fighting, we stop pushing against it, and we just go with the flow, that's when we truly can allow the best blessings to enter our life, because it puts us also in a state of happiness, of bliss, and then we attract more happiness and bliss. So the final card you guys got was the Empress, and I think that's where you guys are going to end up. You are going to be this Empress energy, and you're just needing to figure this out first. But I see you guys on the way there. And another thing coming up with the pancakes, because actually, bizarrely, I had a craving for pancakes yesterday, and I never make pancakes like ever, but I had some healthy gluten-free mix, so I made some. And the thing about pancakes, and it took me a while to like master them because I'm usually impatient. So I would just like cook it on a high heat, and I would just crank the temperature up in the pan to as high as it would go, and then like, fry the pancakes basically. And they still turned out really good, but it was never that fluffy kind of fat pancake that you want with like all that air inside, like puffed up. You know what I mean? Like an American pancake. They would turn out kind of like fried crepes, which are still delicious, but not quite what you're going for. So I finally was like cooking something else, and I was like turning down the temperature way low, so that everything would kind of cook, at the right time. I think I was like cooking an egg on the side or something. And so it was like standard traditional breakfast or whatever. And so anyway, I turned the temperature way low because I was like, oh, I messed up the timing on this. And they turned out to be the most perfect pancakes ever. And what was it? It was that patience. It was me finally, instead of being like, it's not happening, it needs to happen right now, we need to cook this, oh my gosh, like I don't have time to waste, me being like, oh, it's okay, we'll just put it on low and I'll just go do something else and blah, blah, blah. And it turned out the best. So ever since then, I've been cooking my pancakes that way, and they turn out so much better and low and slow. I never understood. I cooked pancakes for a long time before I figured this stupid little tiny trick out. But I could never figure it out because I was always rushing it and I had no reason to slow down. And when I finally slowed down, that made the difference. And I feel like that's the message with you guys, is like, there is divine timing at play. So don't feel like, oh my God, it's not happening, or like it hasn't happened right now. Like there is some impatience here with the Knight of Wands. And we want to get to, maybe the King of Cups, King of Pentacles, King of Wands, where it's a little more chill, it's a little more relaxed, it's a little more patient. And the Empress is always patient. The Empress is always restful. She's in her Venus energy. She is never hustling, running around with like a chicken with her head cut off. She is always relaxed, and you always see her almost in a position of repose, like she's resting, and that is such a powerful energy to be in. So I feel like for you guys, you just need to realize that there is no reason for you to rush this. It will happen at the right time. And I got some other messages for you guys as well that I'm going to talk about later, but those are the main ones coming through with the tarot. So we also got Moon Maiden, New Beginnings, the Magician's Sword, confidence in your magic, stars in the sky, limitless possibilities, and hollow bone, teachability. So I feel like the message here for you guys is all about, you're getting some new beginnings. You're learning right now, and maybe that's the delay. And maybe some of you guys have been feeling some lack of confidence about your magic or about your abilities, or you're like, I thought this was going to work out, but it's not going to. And I feel like you guys need to know that your magic is on point, your manifesting ability is on point, and that you have limitless possibilities. I feel some of you guys in this pile, maybe you've been feeling called to do something, but it just seems impossible, or it seems like maybe there's people around you being like, you want to do that? Oh, there's no way you could do that. Not you. There's no chance. And you need to know that that is a possibility. We can have whatever we want in life. I'm hearing that line from T.I. where he says, you can have whatever you like. And that's like what I feel like your future self wants you to know. So if there's something you've been holding yourself back from, thinking like, yeah, it would be embarrassing if I fail, or like, I don't think I can fully do it. Again, there's this mindset shift that needs to happen where you can fully step into your power, and you can fully step into your highest version of yourself, where you're not doubting, you're not allowing, statistics. Like, I think it's so funny because once you do this work, like intensely, you start realizing that a hunch or an instinct or that feeling of like, this should happen, that is the most powerful thing ever. And so many people talk themselves out of it, or they're like, well, statistically, blah, blah, blah. I've told you guys this before, but like, I mean, I trust my intuition now 100%, no matter how stupid it is, no matter if it's like stand on your head and do a jig in your living room with a handstand. I would do it. I'd be like, okay, but I do it. And every time I've had a disappointment, it's when I've not listened to that. And I know this is so stupid, but I really learned how to do this when I would order groceries for delivery. I know that's so crazy, but I always get my groceries delivered because I just don't like grocery shopping. And anyway, I I would so I like before I would order groceries, sometimes I would get a feeling like don't order that or you shouldn't order groceries right now. And I would always be like, what the heck? Like, come on, like just let me, I need these groceries. I need to eat. I don't have food right now. Like I need obviously something to eat tonight. So I'm gonna order groceries. This is the timing. And always whenever I had that feeling, as small as it is, don't get those tomatoes. And I'd be like, what the heck? Like, so what? Even if they bring bad tomatoes, like, I don't really care. Like, it's not gonna be the end of the world. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I need everything else. So it's fine. And of course, something would happen with the order, or they would be out of the tomatoes, or the person would completely mess up. The tomatoes would come and they were like, rotten, or usually something that would happen is like it would be super delayed and I would schedule something like I'll meet a friend at this time and I'd be like that's well within the range of the grocery delivery, so I'll have plenty of time to meet up with them, or I'll have plenty of time to film a video, or I'll have plenty of time to do this. And the groceries would be so delayed, the person would completely mess it up and I'd be like frustrated by the end of it, or I'd be like completely off schedule, or they would like just not show up with my groceries and the whole thing would throw off whatever my timing was, and it was a boomerang. So I only bring that up to say you have no idea why Spirit is sending you a message, as irrational as it may seem. This is where I perfected it because it would just happen. Obviously, you get groceries regularly. So I just noticed that time and time again. I'd order groceries, I'd have the go ahead, everything would be fine. I'd have a little feeling, tiny feeling, don't order those. And without fail, something would happen with the order that would just kind of throw off the whole day, or like something would be completely janked up within the order that was like a serious thing where I'm like, wait, that was the main part of my ingredient. Like now I don't have that. So my point is it doesn't have to make sense to your logical mind because Spirit has a bigger thing for you. And sometimes I think we second guess, we use our logical brain, we talk ourselves out of it. We think like, oh yeah, okay, I mean, I know you're saying that, but like that doesn't make sense. But Spirit knows so much more than us. And this is where it's important to just let Spirit take over and to kind of be teachable and learn. Like I said, be like water. So adjust, go with the flow to what Spirit tells us rather than letting our conscious brain take over. And some of you guys might have been too much in your conscious brain. Like I feel like some of you guys have felt inspired to go after a cause, a project, maybe a career, but then there's that logical part of your brain that turns on. And this is why I was telling you about the grocery thing, is because that's a tiny microcosm of how all our decisions we make, right? And even though the worst that could happen with the groceries thing is like, okay, so they bring the wrong groceries or they mess up the order. Imagine how detrimental that can be if we use our logical brain to decide those things, like a major life event, like you're feeling called to become a singer or to put yourself out there in some way, or to get into a job as a florist or whatever. And then that logical part of your brain turns on, is like, oh my gosh, this is a competitive field. There's no way you can make it. Everything's against you. If Spirit has put something in your heart, it's up to you to stop questioning and to just listen and to have that confidence. You don't have to see the final plan. You don't have to understand what's going wrong. I still don't understand how some of the people got my grocery orders so wrong, and how when you order like a thing of frozen peas, they would bring you a thing of dried mint. To me, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what some of these grocery shoppers were thinking, to be honest, right? That's not something that logically makes sense to me, but it doesn't have to. This is what I'm saying, is like, there's things in life where logic kind of doesn't apply. We just should go off our intuition, the feelings that we have deep in our soul. That should be your compass and your guidance. And you shouldn't be sitting around thinking, wondering if it can happen, how it will happen, but then if this happens, then that, the chances of this or that. Just do it. And when Spirit has put that in your heart, that is a magical message for you. That is like your guide path. And that's all you have to know, is see one light at a time on the guide path. one stone at a time on the stepping stones through life. You don't have to necessarily see the whole thing. You don't have to necessarily need to know where you're exactly headed. You just have to trust Spirit, that Spirit is giving you each piece of guidance that's going to lead to your highest good. You don't have to plan it all out. Or maybe you can know the destination, but you don't know exactly how you're going to get there. But you trust that Spirit will end you up in the right place. Kind of like also when you plug something into your phone to get directions, you don't necessarily have to know all the highways by heart, right? You don't have to know each of the loops of everything that turns into everything in this road and that road. You just plug it into your phone, and then you trust that, Google Maps or whatever is going to lead you in the right direction. And then you just go with the flow. You just follow it, right? And that's how life is and how manifesting works. So I feel like a lot of you guys, you need to get back into a place of trust and just feeling good. And, you can do those things. I mean, it is Taurus season. It's a great time to be treating ourselves with a little extra love and indulgence, having a nice bubble bath, or doing some self-care, or even cooking ourselves something really delicious, or spending out in time in nature, like, exercising in nature and looking after our physical bodies. But the thing is at any time, no matter what's going on around us, we have that ability to access that place of peace and joy and happiness and trust with Spirit, no matter what is happening. And sometimes that can be the most powerful sign of trust and faith in Spirit that Spirit loves to see, is when everything's falling down around you and you've still got a smile on your face and you're still blissed out, happy, excited, joyful. So I think you guys need to I'm hearing just chill. I just heard the line from Peso by A$AP Rocky, where he says, for now, just chill. And that's literally, I just heard it so loud in my mind. It's like, and by chill, I don't mean just sit around and do nothing. I mean, get into a place of happiness, peace, relaxation, and expecting the best, expectancy of goodness. Some of you guys have maybe that, but you've fallen out of it and you've allowed your conscious mind to take over with all the worries and all the stress. And it's like time to hit that reset button and go back into a place of just pure expectancy of goodness. So, oh my God. And as I'm saying that, it says unicorn purity, which I didn't even know kind of what that meant when I was pulling cards. I was like, okay. And right after I said pure goodness, pure innocence and goodness, or whatever I said, then we got purity. Love. Spirit is so smart. See, Spirit plans things way in advance before our conscious mind knows what's going on. And that's why we should trust. We also got Spirit Guardian of Autumn, letting go, Stag Spirit leadership, and Spirit Guardian of Summer, expansion. So for some of you guys, you're being put in a leadership position or in the spotlight in some way. And if that's the case, you need to understand that it's time to let certain things go that might not be serving you anymore. So if you felt called to let certain things fall out of your life in some way, it doesn't have to be, you texting a friend and being like, I'm never speaking to you again. You are gone from my life. It can be just letting it fall out, letting it just kind of fall out of our life. If you were holding sand and you just opened your palm up and let it dissolve, that's kind of the energy. Whatever is meant for you will stay with you. Not to say we don't put any effort into our relationships, but what I've learned is the friendships, the relationships, the things that are meant to be for you will always be for you. Again, it's not to say you don't put any effort in with anything, but you can feel confident, you can feel relaxed. I know with some of my best friends, I won't text them or hit them up for a while. And if I call them after 2 months even, they'll be like, hey, what's up? They'll be super chill about it. You know what I mean? That's how the best relationships, the things that are really meant for you, the people that know your heart on the deepest level, treat you. They don't get upset if you snapped at them once or if you weren't in the best mood. You know what I mean? It's not to say we can go around being crazy and being rude to people, but it's to say that things that are for you will always be for you, especially when you're acting out of your highest good. So for a lot of you guys, just go back into that place of positive, almost childlike expectancy. When a little kid asks for something from a parent, they don't sit around asking the parent, how are you going to afford this? Does that fit into the budget? I don't know. I asked Santa for this, but I don't know. I think it might be a little heavy for Santa to carry in his sleigh. And I'm not sure if Santa will be able to fit it down the chimney. They just expect I'm going to get that. I know it's for me. I wanted this. I asked my parents and I know they're going to get it for me. Or I asked Santa or I asked the tooth fairy or whatever, and it's going to come. And that's why, like in the Bible, Jesus said, be like the little children. And that's a spiritual doctrine in a lot of different religions. There's something so powerful about having that pure, youthful, innocent purity about you where you just expect the best. And that's just what I keep getting for you guys. But also be aware that you might have to let go of those things that aren't serving you. And if you guys are being called to put your name or face on social media in some way, or to put yourself out there in some way, or to put things up online, don't be afraid of that, because I feel like some of you guys are being called to be in leadership positions. You're being called to put yourself out there, put your own guidance, wisdom, and thoughts and feelings out there. And if that's the case, then you need to listen to that, because that is a gift that is going to expand things for you. You're going to have a lot of growth in your life if you guys can choose to go ahead and do that. So let me get into some of the other cards we got. So we got meditate and contemplate, new moon in Pisces. A personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. And what are those? 2 water signs. And then we have another water image here, mutable moon, which is water energy, new moon eclipse. And it's time to take action, new moon in Aries. This one says, expect powerful change, by the way, but so much water here. And as I was saying, this is bringing to mind that phrase, be like water. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're getting downloads. It is the eclipse season, and it is a powerful time in change. This is a powerful moment where nothing will ever be the same, and your life will be altered because of it. So again, be like water, lean with it. A water doesn't fight back against, like, now I have to go down this creek. I didn't like that. I don't want to be in that creek. I want to go back. I'm going to just backtrack. I'm going to hop over there. It just flows. It just flows with whatever direction it's put in. It just flows and makes the best of it. And that's what we're supposed to do. But I feel like a lot of you guys, you're going to be getting psychic downloads at this time. You're going to be very psychic at this time. And we do literally have new moon eclipse here. As I'm saying, it's eclipse season. And it was literally a new moon eclipse. And we just got that. There's so many confirms here. I feel like this is a really, obviously eclipses are powerful for everyone, but you can kind of see, how powerful an eclipse is for you if it tightly aspects one of your natal planets, depending on the houses it's in. If it's in your first house, it's going to be really powerful. So for my Taurus or Scorpio ascendants, this could be a really powerful time for you, as well as other houses it could be in. I mean, it's going to affect all the houses of the zodiac differently, and depending on what you're kind of working on in your life, it could be an important aspect of your life right then. Like if it's in your 10th house and you're hoping for a career change, it could be really important to you then. But anyway, my point is, I feel like this eclipse really hit you guys and you're getting a lot of downloads, and I want you guys to pay attention and really, if you guys get a message about something, or you get some guidance or some kind of revelation comes to you at this time, even some of you guys, you might be feeling a little moody lately, feeling the need to retreat a little bit. That can happen with eclipse season because it's such powerful energy, especially for moon sensitive people, people that have strong Cancer placements, Cancer, sun, ascendant, moon. Those people are very highly affected by these shifts and changes in the moon, especially moon in Cancer, which we have there because it's a double lunar ruling. So for you guys, if you're feeling a little tired, if you're feeling a little, not your best, that's because the sun is blotting out the moon, and all of us can be affected by this. All of us can be affected by the energy of the eclipse and this massive kind of upheaval that happens. So if you need to retreat a little bit and chill and take it easy, and like I said, it is Taurus season, so sometimes that can be cooking yourself something a little comforting, or having a nice little spiritual bubble bath with some candles and some, organic rose petals in the water. You want it to be organic because you don't want glyphosate in the water, definitely not. But that's something you can do to really bring out that nurturing energy and just go with the flow. Because for you guys right now, I feel you're getting these deep downloads and you're growing powerfully, even if it doesn't feel like that. Sometimes when you're really tired out of the blue and you're like, I'm exhausted. Like I feel so lazy. I've just been laying in my bed for the past 3 days. That's why are you exhausted? Because you're doing work on the astral plane. It's not to say you should just like laze around all the time, but if you're truly feeling exhausted, especially when it's synced up to these powerful astrological events, well, duh, you're getting that spiritual download. So just trust that process, because I feel like you should know that it is going to be a beautiful, powerful change that I feel like you guys want, but also with nothing is yet set in stone. I also feel like there's a message for you guys that, like, keep in mind, our thoughts always are determining our reality. So that's why it's so important to keep them on point, even if we're close to the finish line. There's video footage of like someone who was running a race, and then they think like, oh, I've crossed the finish line. Like they got it wrong somehow. They messed up their awareness of it, and they kind of start, slowed to just walking. They're like, oh, I'm done, yay. And then someone pushes past them and steals first place because that person kept their eye on the prize and realized that the finish line wasn't there yet. So it's really important that no matter how close we are to a finish of a project or to some achievement we wanted, that we keep ourselves just positive, keep our mindset in the right place. Again, being like water, being calm, expecting the best, trusting the best, never letting our conscious mind get the better of our unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind in tarot and the metaphysical doctrines and stuff is always the moon. And there's so much moon energy here. Obviously this is the moon tarot, and I felt called to use this one, which I haven't used it in a while. And I do feel like this is like your unconscious mind affecting your conscious mind. So you want to always kind of revert your unconscious mind, make sure that you have an expectancy of the best, making sure that you unpack whatever negative images or ideas you might have of things, of money, of like, oh, there's not enough money, or like, oh, I'm so worried and stressed about paying my bills, or like, I won't be able to afford this because of that. You know what I mean? If that's how you're saying to yourself, I got to watch my money all the time, then you're going to be keeping yourself in a scarcity mentality. So making sure our mindset is in the right place, making sure we always have that expectancy that something good is going to happen, that we'll always have more than enough, that we'll always be blessed with whatever we need, and that all actions work for our greatest and highest good. And being like water, going with the flow of whatever spirit brings us, we're okay with it. We follow it. We lean towards it with enthusiasm. And if not enthusiasm, if we can't muster up some enthusiasm, at least, again, being like water, not resisting, and then taking action. But I do feel like you guys are going to have a powerful change soon. It is eclipse season, and there's another one coming up towards the end of this month. So it's really intense eclipse season, and it's going to be going on until December. But there's another one happening in just a couple weeks. So it might be happening soon. That might be a culmination point for you guys. A great thing to check is if it's aspecting any other, I think that one is like 22 degrees of Scorpio. So if you have aspects in 22 degrees of another water sign, that could be a trine, that could be really positive. So 22 degrees Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, or it could be an opposition. So if you have something towards close to 22 degrees of Taurus, you can use your chart to see what's hitting you where, and what's going to affect things for you with this eclipse, because it might be very powerful and this might be the change you were hoping for. And if you really don't know how to use your astrology chart, you can always book an appointment with me and I can tell you how this eclipse is affecting you. But yeah, I feel like for a lot of you guys, it's going to be powerful change. So let's get some additional cards. So we got, you are the truth seeker, awakening, actualizing, transcending, and everyone is on their own journey. How can you focus more on your own path? And leader of the light, where are you being called to serve and support others? And when peace is your priority, negativity cannot exist. And I love that message. When peace is your priority, negativity cannot exist. And when you decide that you are always going to be in a place of peace and no one can take you out of it and nothing can take you out of it, and everything negative that someone might try to do to you bounces off you and cannot affect you in any kind of negative way and has no bearing on who you are as a soul and as a being of pure light and pure beauty and pure goodness, then you stop being so worried or upset or affected when someone treats you badly or sends negative intentions your way, because you know you're always going to come out good. You're always going to come out on top of it. And that this is just a part of the journey, and that you'll always be showered with blessings. But for a lot of you guys, I feel like you guys are doing some deep spiritual work lately. And I feel like you should know that you're going to glow up. There's going to be such a positive trajectory with this pile. You guys are going to end up achieving all your dreams. And like I said at the beginning, this is like these pancakes that I could just see someone's made like all 4 pancakes, but we just got to get that final one on top, and the little butter, the little pat of butter and the syrup, and then it's going to be good to go. It's going to be good to eat, and you're almost there. So I just want you guys to keep yourselves feeling really positive. And I love the message here. It says, where are you being called to serve and support others? And for some of you guys, I feel like you're supposed to put your stuff out there in the world. If you've been being called to do some kind of public platform or have social media, or have some kind of public whatever, I feel like this is the time for you guys to do that. This is the time for you guys to really put yourselves out there into the world and to trust that everything will turn out. And I do talk to a lot of people that are like, oh, I would love to like be a singer or like whatever. I would love to do something like that, but I'm so like, I don't want people to like think it's lame. And it's like, they probably will think it's lame, and who cares what they have to say? You know what I mean? It's so unimportant. They're not on your path or your journey, and chances are once you have the success, they'll be probably the ones that are like, oh, I knew them back in the day or whatever. But I think that it's just like your destiny is so much more important, you know? And it's so stupid kind of to get thinking about what everyone else has to say, or like this person's negativity or that person's negativity. Everyone's on their own journey, as this card says, and they can make their decisions for themselves. But if you feel intuitively called deep inside to do something, if you have felt spirit tugging on you, telling you this would be important for you, this would be great, do this, then that's what you should run to, whether it makes sense for you in the moment or not. That's the magic. That's where you start going into the realm of like literal magic and seeing your life take on a magical quality. It's kind of like how, you know, in Alice in Wonderland, I'm seeing that thing where she finds that biscuit, right? And the little drink, and it says like, eat me, drink this. And she does, and then she falls down the rabbit hole, right? And of course, in your logical mind, you'd be like, I'm not going to eat this. What? Who even left this out? This creepy little weird note and like attached to like a biscuit. I'm not eating. No way I'm going to eat and drink this. But that's where you go into the realm of magic, is when you trust. When you trust that something that doesn't make sense to you right now is going to make sense to you in the end. And then your life literally will take on a magical quality, because you literally invite in magical creatures like fairies when you do that. Not to get too into that subject, because we're already, you know, covered a lot of stuff so far, but you will like be surrounded by the magical creatures of the world when they see you trusting them and having that magic yourself and bringing that magic energy into the world. That's what they want to exist in. So they will seek you out even more, and you will find like just magic in everything you do. You'll start seeing, you know, every time you look at the clock, it's 11:11, it's 1:11, it's 2:22, 3:33, you know what I mean? And I feel like for you guys, you just need to really trust and go with this. So yeah, I think those are all the main channeled messages I got for you guys, but I feel like you guys are going to have so much success, but you gotta keep that mindset really positive, because I think, you know, our mindset is always determining things, and we have infinite possibilities. So just like this has this infinity symbol right here, you guys are going to have all the pancakes you could want, all the goodness you could want. So I really hope that helped pile one. Let me know if it did in the comments, and make sure to give this reading a big thumbs up and turn on those notifications. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to check out my Patreon, my last reading is a fun tipsy reading all about your future spouse. So it is with a little bit of a glass of wine before we did the reading, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, definitely check that out over there. Link is in my bio if you want to join us over there, and make sure you're subscribed over here as well, so you can see all my additional readings that I post all the time. I'm sending you guys so much love and light. Have an amazing day and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, pile two. So if you guys picked the Fountain card, this is going to be your reading. So for your tarot, you guys got the Five of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, Three of Wands, Six of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, the Lovers, and Strength. So I feel like the message from your future self might have to do with some kind of conflict with the Five of Wands leading the reading. It can be a message kind of warning you against getting caught up in needless conflict or conflicts that you can't win, and kind of like to stay focused on your goals and to stay focused on your path. With the Knight of Pentacles, the Three of Wands, it can be an important message that your future is being decided. And that's why it's so important for you guys to stay aligned with positivity, with what you want, and with a positive energy rather than getting drawn into negativity. So much of the time we can get annoyed by those tiny little things. Someone cuts us off in traffic, or there's an annoying coworker that we know has it out for us, or there's just something that goes wrong. We're maybe struggling to put on a necklace in the morning and it just ruins our whole day. You know what I mean? And it's so important to make it a tool and a habit to reset our mind to positivity. So something goes wrong and we force ourselves back into a place of positive mindset, because our destiny, our future is always being shaped at every moment it's being determined. So the faster we can snap back to a place of goodness, the better. That's why there's a phrase like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Why is that a spiritual law that we have? Because the rich expect that, right? The rich know that like money is their birthright. Money comes easily. Oh, look, I have so much money. And then that builds on itself, right? And then they attract more. Someone who's poor is always in that moment struggling with like, how do I pay this bill? Oh my gosh, there's not enough money. I don't have enough. I'm not going to be able to make rent at the end of the month. And those things, those thoughts, those feelings become reality. Not to blame anyone, but it's an empowering message to say at any moment we have the choice to reset our mind, because our mind and our expectation of things and how we experience the world, how we view the world, is going to be that framework with which our reality takes shape. So when we get involved in like focusing on like, can't believe that guy cut me off. I wasn't even going, slow. Like he was so rude. Oh my God, people nowadays, they're awful. I can't believe he was driving that car too. Like, I just feel like, what a jerk. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, you spent 20 minutes in a totally negative mindset, thinking negative thoughts, thinking negative energy, radiating that into the universe. And then the universe is like, oh, okay, they want negativity then, and then gives them more negativity. So that's why a lot of times when you finally will like reconcile with something and you will just kind of be like, whatever, I'm over this situation, you'll see it magically resolve, right? Whenever you're like, you know what, I'm done. Like maybe you're texting a guy or something and he's like not texting back or whatever for the sake of this. And then suddenly you're like, I'm done with this guy. You know what? I don't have time for this. And then next thing you know, he's texting you nonstop. It's like you block him and then he's like on another platform trying to contact you, because whenever we release something, it floats away. You know what I mean? And so sometimes when we are in a Five of Wands energy, it's not necessarily your fault, but it's just that we have the ability to reset our mind and we need to like take advantage of that. I know it's hard. And during my private readings, I tell people like, I know it stinks, but it's almost like the worse your situation is, the more on point your mindset has to be. And if you look at that as a positive, it's actually a growth opportunity, right? That's why you see a lot of people who end up being really successful, like beyond anything, did grow up in poverty or did grow up in a hard life, because once you master that, once you figure out that major key of like, oh, my mindset controls everything, that's when you will have success beyond your wildest dreams, right? That's why a lot of rap songs, I love listening to them to level up, because it's like they kind of understand that principle, a lot of those principles, because a lot of people, who are in rap didn't grow up with a lot of money, and that's where kind of the art form started taking place. It's not just like people from like a privileged background singing about whatever, like they've been through it and then they've managed to master it and turn it into abundance and wealth and success beyond what anyone could imagine. Because when you might be in a negative like place in your life, that's when it's so important that you see positively. That's when you really get harnessed, is through that fire, or your power gets harnessed. That's when you get turned into steel. You know what I mean? Or maybe a piece of coal gets turned into a diamond, through that pressure. Because once you learn that nothing and no one can take away your peace, and you always have the power to be positive, to see the silver lining of things, then you realize that your luck, Wheel of Fortune, is always going to be on your side. You can make your own luck at any given moment, no matter how bad a situation is. And the Wheel of Fortune is also that message that when we're at the bottom of the wheel, we're going up. So some of you guys might be needing to hear that. Maybe right now you're in a really negative time, or you're in a really negative place, and you just need to know that it's so crucial right now that you keep yourself feeling positive, keep yourself feeling happy, because your path is being determined. And the faster you can learn to reset yourself out of the negativity and into a place of positivity, of expecting the best, the faster that's going to come in. And you're being strengthened during this period. So again, don't look at it as a negative mindset. Think of, like I was saying, a lot of rappers end up growing up to have incredible success, and they didn't grow up with a lot of money. And contrast that to a lot of people who grow up with a lot of money but are so miserable, right? And never really become successful on their own. It's because they weren't strengthened by that. And actually the hardships, the pain, the having to learn those things can be the biggest blessing ever. So whenever we're going through a really hard time, remember that it's a gift. I know it's hard and it stinks to go through it, but remember that we came to this planet to learn, to figure things out, to grow our soul. And so whatever hardship is placed in us, a hard difficulty, a person that's difficult, or a situation that's difficult, or something that's really taxing for us, that is a gift. That's a situation that's refining us, that is forging us in the fire. Just the way that if you see a sword being, hammered out by a blacksmith, there's a lot of fire. You got to heat it up. You got to get it all hot, and you got to raise that temperature. And that's when we're able to become as sharp as possible and the highest version of ourselves. So if you guys have been facing a lot of that conflict, then know that that's a gift and a blessing. Also, a message with the Six of Cups coming out above the Lovers might be, for some of you guys, you might be reminiscing about a lover or someone from the past that you were very close to. Could even be someone that you weren't necessarily romantically involved with, like a friend or a family member or something like that. I feel like there's a message here of forgiveness, or maybe that there's no point in fighting with this person. It could even be, like I said, a coworker or just someone difficult, because the 5 cards can generally talk about some kind of hardship or loss. So it's not necessarily a situation where there's going to be a lot gained from fighting with this person. It may even be an ex you're thinking about. And sometimes it's just, again, those feelings we have, those feelings of negativity they don't really serve us very well. So even sometimes it's not about rekindling the relationship. It's about us not carrying any bitterness in our heart and just moving on and wishing them the best. Because that's going to bring us the next blessing. And sometimes when a relationship didn't work out, it's letting that just fall away and knowing and expecting that whatever comes in and stays is exactly for us. So if a relationship didn't work out, it's not about necessarily going back and rekindling it. Although sometimes maybe there is that reflection to be done about, like, I said the wrong thing, or you know what, I overreacted about this and I want to apologize, and maybe we can give it a second shot. But generally speaking, if you're like, I know I gave it my all, I know I did everything, then sometimes it can be so easy to get into an energy of bitterness of like, I can't believe this person treated me like that. I can't believe they did that. But Spirit will take care of the karma for whatever they've done. But this is about, again, I told pile 1 this, but be like water, like understanding that anything that isn't for you is not for you, and just allowing yourself to drift through things, not being resistant, not being like trying to stay attached to something that Spirit has removed from our life. It's kind of like the image of sand like falling through someone's hands. You know what I mean? Like you can't hold it in your hand as much as you might tightly cling to it. Can't really cling to anything with these nails, but you have to just let things kind of flow. And if it's not meant for you, it won't be for you. And if it is meant for you, it will stay. So there's no reason to be bitter or angry about an ex or a situation that didn't work out, a friend that didn't work out, someone that didn't treat us right, because we always should have the expectation that whatever next is coming in is going to be even better. So if it's not fitting in as like, this just works so easily, this flows perfectly, then it's on to the next. I'm getting the image with the fountain of like when you go to get a fountain drink and you're pressing the button for like a Coke or a Sprite or whatever, and maybe they're out. You know, sometimes it's like the tail end and there's only like the watery drippings of what used to be Coke, and you're like, ew, this is gross. You wouldn't be desperately trying to drink that and like pour out extra watery drippings of the Coke. You just be like, oh, they don't have any Coke. Okay, I'll get some Fanta instead, or I'll get some Sprite or Dr. Pepper or whatever. Just move on to the next and know that it's going to be just as good, just as delicious. Scratch whatever itch you had for some soda. There's so many options, right? Like there's no need for us to get focused on one thing in particular, on one, like it had to be, I only wanted Sprite. But like there's another perfectly delicious soda right next to it. And that's the thing, is like we can get a scarcity mindset in our mind about relationships too. We can start thinking that it didn't work out with this person, I'm never going to be in a relationship. I can't believe it. I'm this age, so that means I missed the boat. Or, this person was my soulmate and I know I'm never going to find anyone like that. But the truth is, there are like how many billion people now? I don't know, 8 billion. I could be totally off, but I think it's like around there, 7, 8 billion, maybe more. I don't know, maybe less. But that's a lot of people to choose from. And of course, we have other soulmates. We have other people that can serve other purposes. So if it didn't work out, if it didn't fall into place, let it go, right? There's no need to stay focused on like rehashing it or going back in our mind about like, I did this, they did that. Why didn't we work out here? If only they'd said this. If it didn't work out, maybe it is true. Maybe they have deep feelings for you, but they couldn't say it. Maybe they hate you, maybe whatever. But the point is, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. And if you guys are supposed to be together, you will. But there's no point in having bitterness about a situation or anger or constantly rehashing it. The best thing we can do in life is constantly reassure ourselves that everything is working out for our greatest and highest good, and be on to the next, and understand that all setbacks are an opportunity for growth. All breakups are an opportunity for reflection on what can I improve? Wow, I was really upset that I didn't work out with this person. I know for me, I've had my greatest blessings, and I really would never have picked up tarot were it not for some of my biggest heartbreaks in life, So you never know what purpose someone could serve in your life for the greatest good. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're supposed to end up with them. And it's about letting things flow. And like I was saying to Pile 1, which you guys might have felt called to, there were some great messages in there. So if you felt called to Pile 1, definitely watch it. I could definitely see this pile having messages from there, which will just quickly go over. I was saying, be like water. And water is such a powerful element because it goes with the flow. It doesn't fight. It doesn't resist. And that might seem counterintuitive, like, oh, well, if you're just going with the flow, then you're just at everyone else's mercy. No, it's staying in your own grace, in your own joy, and your own happiness, no matter what anything throws at you. That's the ultimate power. And people with a 5 of Wands energy might try to take you out of that desperately. And honestly, not to be petty, but there's nothing more maddening to them than when they see them trying to get under your skin, and you stay calm and you stay joyful and happy and you continue to send them love. Doesn't mean you have to like sit around with them and like constantly let them into your life, but to send them joy from afar, to send them blessings, to wish them well. It's actually a powerful form of protection, and they won't be able to touch you when you do that. Maybe they try to embroil you in a fight by saying really difficult and nasty things. And if you just smile at them and are like, oh, that's really interesting. No matter what disrespectful thing they say, if they say, I think you look horrible in that dress, and you just were to smile at them and say like, what an interesting opinion. Have a beautiful day, Sarah. I'll be back. Bye. Can you imagine? They'd probably be steaming with rage, and it would make them even more upset than if you were to curse them out and like say a million words. I actually know someone who is a Mercury conjunct Mars in Pisces. And technically, Mercury isn't well placed in Pisces. And so neither really is Mars. And so the thing is, people would think that, oh, that's a horrible placement. But actually, I find this person to be absolutely incredible in arguments, and it's because they never really lose their cool. And I've seen them just intuitively know the most devastating thing to say to a person, and usually this person, whenever they're insulting someone, they'll always kind of laugh, and it'll be like a short statement, like it'll be like, okay dude. And just the way they say it with this lighthearted laugh, it is so devastating. I meanwhile am the opposite, and I will like want to write a dissertation, or I used to be that way, and like break something down and be like, and then blah, 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 blah. And guess what I found is like the most effective way is to just kind of laugh and be in that Pisces chill energy, the Pisces Mars conjunct Mercury energy. I always remind myself of that because it's so effective. Just staying in your peace, just staying in your calm, and just looking at someone like, you're not going to disrupt my peace. No, 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 not you. You're not powerful enough to do that. I am the powerful one, and I know there's nothing you can say to affect me. That is the ultimate power move. And it's so much more effective than writing a speech to someone and insulting them and telling them this and putting them in their place. That actually usually isn't that effective. And I've spent a lot of time like doing that, or I used to, like when I would get mad, I would want to like set someone straight. It's like, you know what? It never worked. But me just leaving them and like letting spirit take care of it, that's what always worked. And just literally focusing on myself, that is what works. So I feel like for you guys, this has been a really long tarot read, but I'm just in channeling. I feel like that's the message, is like, don't get pulled into this, stay calm and in your own energy. So let's get some more cards. So we also got Cosmic Womb, the Divine Feminine, Sky Dancers, Surrender, Drifter, Experiencing Life as It Comes, and Horseman, Herald of Change. So that's exactly pretty much what I was talking about, is this surrender energy, Cosmic Womb, Divine Feminine energy. Divine Feminine energy is not fighting energy. That would be Mars energy. Divine Feminine energy is Venus. It's the opposite of Mars. And it is all about restfulness, calmness, chillness. That's why Mars is debilitated most in Libra, because it's in fall in Libra, because it's such an opposite energy to fighting. It's so not good at fighting because Libra is ruled by Venus, and it's all chill. It's very relaxed. But in a great way, that's the way to diffuse a lot of anger, a lot of tension, or like hardship someone is trying to bring into your life, that negativity, that needless fighting, Five of Wands energy. This is about surrendering, relaxing, and putting ourselves into the best, highest energy place we can, and then letting spirit take care of the rest. So much in life we can cling to, it has to look a certain way, it has to be a certain way. And I feel like the message for you guys is that the best way to approach life is realizing that things are always going to change, and that that's not a bad thing. We can always expect, first of all, that there's endless good for us to get. What I'm seeing with the fountain is an image of just a beautiful fountain spraying out cold water. If you guys have ever been to Italy, they have fountains all over the place, and all different kinds of little piazzas over in little small towns and big cities. There's all kinds of fountains, and a lot of them are drinking fountains with pure, cold, fresh water. And of course, anyone can drink from it. You could be anyone and you are allowed to drink from those fountains. Obviously, people have indoor plumbing, so they're not necessarily using that for, their household necessities. But if you need water, you can always drink from that. And that's what I'm seeing, is like just this beautiful fountain with golden water and blessings and cold, fresh water to drink from. And that's the expectancy that we should have, expecting good things, expecting that spirit always has some fresh, beautiful, new opportunities and endless water for us to drink from in this metaphor. So surrendering to that, understanding that if something fell out of your life, it was for a reason, and that whatever change happens is for the best, not clinging too much to how things used to look or how things used to be, but understanding that things are always going to change, and that's okay, and not trying to hold tight to a certain reality. And I feel like that's a really strong message here with Drifter, Experiencing Life as It Comes, Horseman, and Surrender, Horseman, Herald of Change. There's just so many messages here that It's okay to leave certain things in the past, understand it for what it was, and then welcome in the new blessings. And to constantly reset our mind on, like, okay, what's the best outcome for me now? What's the positivity I can focus on? That is a major key in life. So let's get more cards. So we got Maple Spirit, Generosity, Bluebell Fairy, Gratitude, Storm Spirit, Chaos, and Pegasus, Transcending. So I really see you guys transcending this chaos that you might have been around. And a great way to do that is by showing generosity and having gratitude. Those are two powerful transformative energies that can move us out of a negative place into a positive. So like sometimes when I'm in a bad mood, I will randomly send money to people online, to thank them for something, or to just give them money for whatever reason, because it's like, that makes me feel really good. Like if I'm in a bad mood, literally giving, somehow helping someone in some way is literally like resets your mood so strongly. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but it truly is a powerful way to transmute if you're in a bad mood or you're feeling down in the dumps. Try doing something good for someone, and whether that's volunteering in a soup kitchen or something small. Another thing I like to do is, like, since I always have my groceries and stuff delivered, I'll just leave like a randomly really huge tip to someone, and that makes me feel good. It brings me into a place of like happiness and joy, especially if I, get to like meet them face to face, and their energy is very pure. And I'm like, oh, they just seem awesome. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give them this huge tip. I can't wait for them to receive that. And so that's a really powerful way, just giving something to someone. We do give what we get back. It's kind of like, you know, each thing you give away to someone, what you give, you get. And so everything we give away to someone, we will get back tenfold. That's kind of the law of karma, is like good or bad. We get back what we give. So, giving someone some money, it will come back to you, and it will come back to you even more. And if we can, sometimes you might not have money, but you can give something of your service or your time or love to the world, or spread some joy or happiness by posting something on social media or something like that, but any kind of kindness, even just stopping to have a conversation with someone, or cheering someone up when they're really having a bad day. Those things are powerful ways to transmute negative energy, and also feeling grateful. So going through the list of like things I'm happy about, think about, like I was talking about, fountains in Italy. When they built those, people probably didn't have running water inside and could never even imagine, like, even think about it, for thousands of years, even royalty could never imagine having the kind of indoor plumbing that we have. Like, that is the game changer. It's funny, I was reading some history stuff about how different things were because indoor plumbing changed everything. And if you can imagine life before that, it was just so much dirtier. There was so many more diseases and stuff because people couldn't wash themselves whenever they wanted. They couldn't wash their hands, couldn't clean things. It was just obviously a huge mess. And think about how many of us just turn on hot water or even cold water and don't even think twice. We don't even realize that in all of history, royals, kings back in the day couldn't even imagine that. Literally, you know what I mean? That was like a dream. In order to get water, you'd have to lug water around, or you'd have to pay someone to do that. But it was like a luxury. Like, there was a limited amount of water, and now we have an unlimited amount. We have air conditioning. At the drop of a hat, we can control the temperature. I mean, these are things people could only dream about for thousands of years, and we take it for granted and we complain about our lives. So even if you're feeling horrible, there's so many things we can find that truly we should be so grateful for, and plugging into that and resetting our mood that way. Again, this is a powerful way to build wealth. So don't let yourselves get embroiled in the negativity that someone might be trying to bring into your door, and just focus on, like, what's next? What do I want to grow? Happiness and joy, feeling happy, feeling joyful, feeling in a good place. And expecting the best. Some of you guys, I'm getting a message that some of you guys, you've been watching the news too much, or you've been too plugged into like negativity around current events and thinking about like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world, or this is happening. And of course, we want to stay educated and aware of things that are happening, but also understanding that there's certain things like I can't change, right? I'm not the president. I can't change certain things on a global scale. So all I can do is stay in my own alignment, in my own positivity, expecting the best, and obviously taking conscious steps to protect myself from any dangers, to eat healthily, to keep my mind and body in a really positive, high vibrational place, but also, not stressing out about things that are way beyond my control. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is just about bringing yourself back to a place of positivity constantly, away from the negativity. And this will help you guys if you are in a really chaotic place and there's a lot of tension and stress around you. This will help you to get out of it and to transcend it. So other cards we got: step out of your comfort zone, North Node. Hold your vision, fixed moon. Communication is key, new moon in Gemini. A time to give rather than take, new moon in Virgo. So what's interesting here is Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. So Mercury has to do with thinking and communication, and we literally have communication here. And again, I'm thinking that for a lot of you guys, this is about your thoughts, like resetting how you think about things. And it also could be about how you communicate to people. Again, for some of you guys, there just may be someone that you're having pointless conflict with, and your guides are like, or your future self is saying like, listen, you don't have to fight so hard. Like if you're having to fight with someone all the time, it's just not it. And it's not to say that like you give into them, but again, being like water is the key. Water can wear down rock over thousands of years. I was saying to Pal one of my favorite, most incredible sights I've ever seen in my life is the Grand Canyon. I mean, pictures can't do it justice. It's one of the most incredible things. And I wasn't excited to see it. I was like, oh, I'll just see this the first time, like, okay, yeah, I'll go. And I was blown away. And it's literally one of the most magical, intense places spiritually and like energetically. I've been back now multiple times, and every time it takes my breath away. It's so unbelievable. And it was carved into the rock by water, and it's unbelievable to see. It's literally so beyond human comprehension. It's so massively huge. We could never in a million years build something like that. And it was done by water. And that's the thing, is like water is so powerful. It's like the most powerful element to change things, to do things. And what does water do? It just goes with the flow. It doesn't fight, but it's through going with the flow that it's able to wear away at the most powerful rock ever and make the Grand Canyon and make things of that scale. When we go with the flow, when we keep ourselves in a state of flow, in a state of happiness, in a state of expectancy and joy, when we hold our vision and refuse to be taken off track, when we refuse to let someone take us out of our comfort zone, is what I'm getting. This is a step out of it, but I'm getting we should stay in it. Like we should stay in a positive place, a joyful place, an expectant, happy place. That is the most powerful energy. So for some of you guys, you're just letting people get under your skin. You're letting that annoying person who's rude in traffic and cuts you off take you off your path. And this is about constantly resetting. That happened. It was bad. I'm upset. And now on to the next. Okay, what can I do to make myself feel good? Let me play a song I like. Let me think of a joke that made me happy. Let me watch a stupid little animal video on, YouTube or something. Anything to put us into that happy, positive vibe. And once you start doing that regularly, someone tries to shake you off back, switching it back. It's kind of like, you're adjusting the temperature. Like I said, I was bringing up thermostats, and it's like someone can turn it down or up, but we can reset it. If you've ever had a thermostat that like automatically turns it on to, like, I think most thermostats have this setting, but there's a few times that I've like accidentally turned this on because I usually like to manually adjust it. And then you're like, suddenly like, why is the AC on? Like I set it to be a little warmer. So why did the AC just switch on? Or why is the heating come on? Like suddenly it's so hot. And then you realize that it was an automatic readjustment. And it's like amazing how, I guess, kind of powerful that is, or just how, like, once that becomes an automatic process, you forget it, but the next thing you know, your temperature is totally controlled by that. You know what I mean? No matter what you set it to, automatically it adjusts. And once we can get into our habit of doing that, of just automatically letting our mind take us back into a positive place, that will help us reach our manifestation so much faster. So the other cards we got are Forgiveness will set you free. What do you need to forgive yourself for? Express yourself creatively. Start something new. What creative pursuits do you feel drawn to? Don't run from the darkness. Embrace your shadow side, and your purpose is personal expansion. How can you be more intentional with your choices and live with more purpose? So for some of you guys, maybe you have felt called to do something like creative or put something out in the world. And if you have, I feel like this is your confirm that you should definitely do it. But I also feel like there's a message here of forgiveness, or if there's someone that it's like you can deal, that you're having to deal with, that it's causing you pain. Sometimes it's just forgiveness for ourselves, that we don't even have to tell them or be in touch with them. We don't even have to let them know we forgave them. It's just about like, I've been carrying around this burden and I'm sick of carrying it and I'm ready to put it down. I don't want to reminisce about this person anymore. I don't want to think about them. I just want to focus on my future. I just want to focus on the good. So it's not to say we have to be in touch with toxic people. We can certainly put those boundaries up of like, I'm not going to deal with this person anymore, and that's it. But also, there's something really powerful that comes when we're just like, that's how they are. And you know what? I'm not even going to fight them. I'm just going to stay in my peace and in my joy. And sometimes we do need to put those boundaries, right? I'm not saying we have to have toxic people in our life at all. And once we make that major key moment or movement or decision, I guess, of being like, I'm cutting them out. That's it. That is a major key, and it is a happy, joyful celebration time. But also, we want to make sure we're not carrying around that bitterness for us. We can celebrate like, they're out of my life. I'm so happy, but also I'm not going to be all up in my feelings about like, I can't believe they treated me that way. I can't believe they did that, because I know that if it happened, it's for my best and highest good. And I can transmute whatever pain they try to send in my direction and turn it into blessings, because that's how powerful I am. I am so powerful that nothing they try to do to me can even touch me. I transmute that. I turn it into blessings and happiness. And I'm being told to share a message that I got recently about cutting my finger. And I might make a post about this, but I literally like cut this tiny little chunk out of my finger while I was chopping something. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. It wasn't like that big, but it's like whenever it went down all the layers of skin, and I was like, this is horrible. It looks really huge. I don't even think it would show up on camera now. Otherwise I would show you, because the point is, this happened like 2 weeks ago and I was like, oh my God. It was after filming my tipsy reading for Patreon. So never say I don't work hard for you guys. But of course, I was a little tipsy and chopping something, and that's how it happened. So definitely check that Patreon reading out if you want, because I literally gave it my blood, sweat, and tears. But anyway, but I was so worried afterwards. I was like, oh my God, it's going to scar. Like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I cut my finger like this. It's horrible. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, it's literally completely healed. Maybe there'll be a little scar. I don't know. But honestly, it's it's perfect. And I really thought it was going to be really bad because of how deep it went, but it's truly absolutely perfect. Our bodies are amazing and have endless capacity to heal, and so do our mind, our soul, whatever. So sometimes I think that can be something bad that happens with trauma or with someone treating us badly, is then we get in our heads even more about it, and it becomes even more traumatizing. Like, I'm never going to heal from this. Oh my God, this is horrible. They treated me this way. This is not going to work out. This is so awful that they did this, and now I'm like a victim of this or whatever. And it's not to say that I'm not saying like, hey, get over it, or what they did was wrong, was fine, or anything like that. But I'm saying there's no need to re-victimize ourselves and stress ourselves out by staying in that energy of being super upset about it, because that just takes away from our time. You know what I mean? So it's like, the sooner we can get to a place of like, I am going to benefit from this. Not only am I not going to be scarred by it, I'm going to freaking benefit. I'm going to be even better. And honestly, the skin that re-healed, it's like fresh baby skin. It's probably way healthier than the old skin I had. You know what I mean? And it literally, to me, looks like it's going to be perfectly good as new. And so that's the thing, is sometimes what someone tried to bring us down, tried to scar us, tried to use it against us, spirit will take and turn into a major blessing. So I hope all of this made sense, but I just want you guys to know that there's no need for you to stay embroiled in like some of these conflicts, if people are trying to really upset you and bring you down and keep you in a negative mindset, then the most powerful thing you can do is to send them well wishes and understand that you're going to be in alignment with your highest best good, and nothing can take you out of that. Because once we get embroiled in like anger or resentment or like keeping score of like, okay, they're doing this, I need to be doing that, blah blah blah, that's taking us out of our highest good. So I hope all of this made sense. I was channeling, and sometimes when I channel, I feel like I don't make sense. And then afterwards, I'm like, what was I saying? But anyway, but that's the channeled messages. They did come through really strong. So I hope this pile resonated. Pile 2. Also, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. Turn on those notifications if you want to find out the next time I post. And if you want to check out that Patreon, that's my last reading, was the 18 plus, or the tipsy reading. That was, who are you going to marry? So I was tipsy. That's how I cut my finger. So, but everything's good with it. It did heal. So just maybe no more glasses of wine and then chopping vegetables. That was probably dumb, but anyway. So anyway, subscribe over there if you want. Link is in my bio for that. I'm sending you guys so much love and light. I hope you all have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey, pile 3. So if you guys picked the scoop, this is going to be your reading. So for your tarot, you guys got the Star, Queen of Pentacles, the Empress, Page of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Page of Swords, and the King of Wands. So it's not often that I am speechless and taken aback when pulling cards, but when I saw your top 3 cards were the Star, Queen of Pentacles, and the Empress, I literally was blown away. So to me, this is a message of encouragement and inspiration for you guys, that you will have the success you guys are trying to manifest, that there is massive success in your future, abundance, wealth, and success. And I feel like there's also a message here for some of you guys. Maybe you've been considering putting out a YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or something like that. And there is a message for some of you to step into the spotlight and to go ahead with maybe putting yourself out there in some way, sharing a message in some way, and that if you do, you will be rewarded. So with the Ace of Swords, pay attention to any downloads or messages Spirit might give you, ideas. Maybe you have felt called to start a certain type of channel or certain type of Instagram or something like that. And if you have, I feel like this is a really strong message to go ahead with that and to carry that out. That it could lead a lot of money to you and bring you a lot of the kind of success you guys want. With the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords, this can be a message that maybe through some kind of communication you might be getting money, and that there's going to be a lot of enthusiasm here and a new avenue to make money. And this is kind of more of a youthful energy, so it would show kind of the beginning stages of a project. There's a very beginning type energy here with aces, and then the pages, there's a very like new beginning, fresh start type of vibe coming through. So if you have felt called to change something or to alter something in your content, if you're already putting content out, or if you have felt called to put out content for the first time, this would definitely be an encouraging message. But I do feel like there's some kind of a change or some fresh new type of thing that you guys are supposed to be putting out there. So again, pay attention to those downloads, but I feel like it's almost like a message that your success and abundance will come through when you're willing to put yourself out there and really show yourself. Some of you guys are highly attractive. With the King of Wands coming out, you have a magnetism about you. You are very physically attractive and very desirable to a lot of people. You might have a natural magnetism. You might have some aspect that gives you a sexuality in your birth chart. So maybe it could be Mars sextiling or trining, or a positive aspect to, or any kind of aspect really, to the ascendant or to the sun. Or it could be you know, Pluto as well can give a sexuality. It could even be like Eros, the asteroid. But there's something about you guys that I feel like is very dynamic and very desirable, and a lot of people picking up on this magnetism that you guys have. And this is a really a big gift that you can use in this social media or in this presentation or showing yourself to the world. Some of you guys might have gotten negative messages from people about like, oh, well, so you're a narcissist, you want to post photos of yourself, or like maybe you have this idea that it would be narcissistic if you were to put yourself out there. But the reality is that the world benefits from all different kinds of content. I've mentioned before that I love to watch like silent cooking videos. I don't know why, but they bring me happiness. They make me feel like joy, I guess. And so the thing is you never know how your content can affect someone, and putting it out there into the world is a great way for letting the universe take over, letting the universe do with it whatever the universe wants to. But I feel like for some of you guys, you need to show your face, you need to show yourself and put your content out there. And if you have felt called to do this, know that this is a destiny moment for you guys that is going to lead to the Queen of Pentacles and the Empress. It's going to lead to massive success. I mean, I literally couldn't believe that we got these 3 cards off the top. And I also want to mention that when that happened, I was like, let me check the original pick a card that I used for this one, because like this must be something crazy. And I was like, oh, it's the ice cream scoop. And that makes so much sense to me, because ice cream is personally my favorite food. I could literally eat it for every meal. I love ice cream so much. Of course I don't, because of all the sugar and it's not the healthiest, but seriously, what is better than ice cream? It's so soft and rich and creamy and sweet, and I feel like that's your future. You know, like when you think of ice cream, that is like the dessert, that is that final thing you get as kind of a reward for eating your veggies, right? And this is going to be your reward for, you know, putting yourself out there, putting content out there that's useful. Or if you are like, no, I have not felt called to put any kind of content out there, like that is not resonating, then just a reward for whatever you guys are working on. Maybe it's a financial new journey or something. Maybe it's a side business with the Page of Pentacles, or maybe some kind of a business you have been working on, or some kind of investment strategy. I'm seeing like residual income too as well for some of you guys, but you are going to be rewarded, and we are going to end up with the Queen of Pentacles and the Empress. I literally was in shock when I got those. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I had live shuffled so you guys could see that I didn't arrange the cards or something. But Spirit is like not stuttering here. Spirit is letting you know exactly what's going on, and you guys are going to have a lot of success, wealth, and abundance. So maybe you guys needed to hear that. Sometimes life can beat us down, and you know, the thing is, the star comes after the tower. So it is a message of hope and that things are going to be okay. And sometimes that star moment comes after the tower. So comes after a time when we have a big loss or a lot of pain, a lot of hardship. So if that has been what's been going on in your life, this is definitely a message of encouragement to keep going, and that you are going to be rewarded at the end. Again, keep in mind that with the Ace of Swords, you might be getting divine downloads. You might be getting messages from Spirit about certain things you should change or work on. And if you do get those messages and downloads, this is definitely a time for you guys to lean into that, to go for it, to pay attention to all those insights you might get, because I feel like you guys are being guided to success and to abundance, and you definitely want to be paying attention. Keep in mind, this is also eclipse season. So this is a very special, transformative energy around us right now that is literally changing our destinies and like hurting us into a destiny moment. Eclipse season is always intense, but I happen to love it because it's just such a destiny time for us. It's just pushing us further and further into our highest, best destiny. And so if you guys have been getting downloads around this time, that is definitely something you should trust and look into. You can find out what part of your house or what house in your astrology chart the eclipse affects, and you can see what planets it's going to aspect and stuff. But I do feel like a lot of you guys, this would have to do with your career or with some kind of wealth situation. And so pay attention to insights you're getting around those areas at this time. So let me get some more cards. And if you guys don't know your astrology chart, you can always book a private reading with me and I can figure out your transits. But anyway, okay, so we got the perfect storm, the courage to step into life, lay of the land, ancestral wisdom, dragon sword, protecting the future, repairing the veil, forgiveness, and many masks, the authentic self. So I really do feel like this message is about you guys having the courage to really show yourself. And I do talk to a lot of people in my private readings who maybe they felt called to like do something, but then they constantly second guess themselves. Maybe they felt called to try to be a singer or to put music out there, but then they're like, oh, I'm afraid of people judging me, or I don't really want people to know about it, or like I'd be embarrassed if someone from my hometown saw it. And it's like, the thing is that it's like, if you say something like, well, I don't really care about followers, or, well, I don't really care about the money. It's like, okay, then, so you won't get followers and you won't get money. Like, you've got to lean into like, I'm happy to spread this message with the world. And I think our society does such a head trick on so many people by telling them messages that kind of shame the idea of like putting yourself out there, or shame the idea of like, why would you want to post a selfie, or why would you want to post a video, or why? And it's like, well, I love the free content that people post on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. I feel like my life gets better watching random history documentaries that someone posts, or watching random day in the life videos. I love some of those day in the life videos that just show like a day in my life in Paris, or a day in my life in Gstaad, or a day in my life in Melbourne, Australia, or a day in my life in like Seoul, Korea, or Tokyo, or wherever. It's so interesting to me to see how different people live. And it doesn't have to be that you're putting out like an opera level performance. It can just be showing a moment from your day, from your time. It can be different types of content. Not everyone has to do the same thing, right? Everyone has their own special gift. Maybe someone wants to do arts and crafts, or, wants to do book reviews, or show how they put together a lawnmower. I mean, it could literally be anything. But if you have felt called to share a special gift with the world, listen to that. It could be through writing, it could be through music, it could be through literally anything, clothing design, or even putting together an aesthetic Instagram account or something like that. But the point is, when Spirit tells you that this is worthy of sharing, you guys need to have the courage to do that. And if someone wants to judge you for that, that's on them. And honestly, it's like, as one of my favorite lines is, and if they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile up. A lot of those people that hate on you, like if you have success with it, they'll hit you up later because they think it's really cool, or they'll brag about like, oh yeah, I knew them back in the day. Now they're really huge on TikTok or something like that, So I think for some of you guys, you need to hear this message that it's time to be willing to step into that spotlight. It's time for you guys to be willing to put yourselves out there and not worry so much about what other people think, because I feel like you guys can have a ton of success with this in the future. I feel like this is supposed to be a reassuring message to you about your success in the future, but also a little bit of a push and a nudge, like, come on, get this out there. Let's go. Come on, let's keep it moving, because maybe you guys have been a little stagnant, or been a little afraid, or been thinking about it and the idea has been kind of moving around in your mind, but you haven't wanted to do anything with it. You've been a little scared. And this is about showing your authentic self with the world and not being afraid anymore. Putting yourself out there, and if people want to judge you, then they can. But I feel like you guys are going to have so much more benefit from this. Maybe you have people's negative kind of thoughts, feelings, and stuff radiating through your mind. With this forgiveness card coming out, maybe it's like some people have said negative stuff to you and it stays in your head, of like someone making fun of you for something. And now you're like, oh, it'd be so lame if I did that. Like, everyone made fun of me for my painting growing up, and so I don't want to show my artwork even though I really love it. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, you should never let something like that hold you back. You should try to push that out of your minds. I feel like for a lot of you guys, your ancestors are really with you and wanting you to put this content out. We got ancestral wisdom, and I feel like you guys in this pile, you do have your ancestors with you and a big team on the other side. So you shouldn't be afraid of sharing it, and you shouldn't be afraid of pushing yourself a little bit on this, because I do feel like it's going to be ultimately so positive for you. And I can say, again, doing these readings is like, your guides, your ancestors, they're with you all the time. And they're always willing to help you. So some of the time someone's like, well, I wish I could just tell my grandma this. And I'm like, you can, she's around you. Like, you don't need to talk to her through me. I mean, you can, but you can also say things to her out loud, and she's with you and she will hear you. They really are with us all the time. And so sometimes I think, like, I'll encourage someone, like, if you need help with something, especially if your ancestor was good in that area, then call upon them and ask for help with that. So maybe like if you had a grandma who was a really good cook, you can call on her before you have to cook an important meal, or you can call on your grandma who was really good socially before you have to walk into a party or something like that, to give you the right words. But you can call on your team at any time. And I do feel like you in this pile might have a really big, powerful spiritual team, because I often find people that are supposed to send really big messages with the world have a lot of teams, a lot of people on their team on the other side, even more so, like very active. When there's a message they're supposed to spread, it's kind of like all hands on deck. You know how like it's like when you're going to you're just going out to like run to the grocery store and you just throw the mascara on yourself. But when there's like a celebrity that has a huge event with a red carpet, they get like a team, they get like stylists, makeup artists, like they get everything done for them. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that's how it is like they're like, oh, this is going to affect a lot of people. We got to get it on point. So I feel like you guys have a big team on the other side. So let's get some more cards for you guys. So we got Spirit Guardian of Spring Activation, Pegasus Transcending, Willow Spirit Flexibility, Raven Spirit Truth, and Wise Woman of the Grove Grace. So I feel like this is a really activating time for you guys. I feel like a lot of you guys have been feeling called to do this for a long time, and there's been a lot of fear and reticence. And honestly, the message for pile 3, it's very clear. It's that it's time for you guys to step forward into this and share your truth with the world and not to be so afraid of it. I feel like a lot of you guys, you're almost afraid of your gift. Maybe you guys are very gifted in some area and there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear of your own power. There's a lot of fear of like, what would happen if I fully stepped into this? If I fully showed myself to the world, if I was fully honest, what would people say? Would they judge me? Would they think I was stupid? And I think part of this, the message for you guys is that you've just got to block it out and not really think about that. You've got to keep your eyes on the prize, because it's almost like you have two choices, right? You can appeal or appease these people and make them happy and just stay very stagnant, stuck in your own lane, and just kind of keep yourself small, and they'll be happy as clams. They'll probably like you a lot. They'll probably be really big fans of you and really happy and smiley and, nice to you if you do that, right? Or you can step into your full destiny and your fullness of your potential. And that might really make them annoyed, right? And they might be rude to you, or they might not get you, or they might make fun of you behind your back, right? But which one would you rather have? The long-term effects of stepping into your destiny and reaching your highest potential, or the long-term of you keeping yourself small to appeal to them? Because I bet it's not going to matter much to you that this random person is smiling at you and nice to you when you haven't achieved your dreams and you're looking back in 30 years, 40 years, and you're like, wow, I didn't do that. Life is short. That's something you should always be reminding yourself, not to say that like you panic about it or you have this fear, but to say that like we have a finite amount of time on earth and it goes by really quick, So if we're not doing things that are stepping into our highest destiny, the mission that we're given before we come to this planet, because keep in mind, we all have an important destiny. We all have an important mission. We all have something special and beautiful that only we can share with the world. And the whole world benefits when everyone is leaning into that. When people are giving themselves and happily stepping into the fullness of their destiny, that is when everyone collectively is doing better. So never feel guilty or like there's something bad about that or something selfish about that. That's a beautiful thing. That's something we should all be encouraging. And anyone who's going to try to discourage you from that is probably not operating. Maybe they're jealous or maybe they're angry because they didn't live out their destiny. But for a lot of you guys, you're being pushed to share your truth with the world, to put something out there that's really special. And I feel like you're going to transcend these negative circumstances, but you guys have got to have the power, the strength, and the boldness to go after it. So if you have already been doing this, I just feel like the message is maybe there's something you can tweak here, or something more bold you could be doing, something more honest. Maybe you share content, but it's very limited or something. And maybe there's something you can be more showing yourself, or you can be more being truthful, or letting someone into your life. I feel like the message here is just not to be afraid, to be as bold as you possibly can be, and to see how that transforms things. Like, it's like the more honest you are, the better this is going to be. The more you show of yourself, the better it's going, the more amazing and special it is going to be. So I feel like for you guys, if there has been fear about this or reticence, this is definitely a strong message to go ahead as boldly as you possibly can. And a lot of these people might not even be trying to like have it out for you. Maybe they just, you know, never went after their dreams and they just think this is normal. They just think this is how things are lived. Or maybe they have this idea of scarcity around money, like, oh, there's no way you're going to succeed in this field. It's a crowded field. Or there's no way you can make money from this. Or there's limit, like you have to get a 9-to-5 job. That's just how it always is. So it's not to say you have to be angry at them, but again, understanding that you have a special destiny and that we can make whatever our dreams, we can make it a reality. You know, that's what I feel like Spirit wants you to do. They don't want you to be bogged down by negativity on this or limited thoughts, because I feel like you guys have this really powerful destiny here. So let me get some additional cards. So we also got nothing will come of this situation. Look at the bigger picture. Full moon in Sagittarius. Walk through your fears. New moon in Scorpio. The end of a tough cycle approaches, full moon in Capricorn, and communication is key, new moon in Gemini. So I feel like the message here for you guys is if you continue in your same energy that you're in right now, nothing's going to come of it. So if you're not willing to put yourself out there a little and to be bold, I don't think you're going to have this Empress, Queen of Pentacles energy. I think there's a lot of boldness required here. And I feel like you should know that you're going to be supported in this if you guys do decide to take those steps. So this is encouragement to dream big, to push big, look at the bigger picture, think as big as you can. Don't limit yourself to like, oh, I hope this kind of is somewhat successful. Think about like, what's the best outcome for me? Or not even, I'm not even going to imagine that. I'm just going to let Spirit take over and put everything out there and just, you know, expect goodness and happiness and joy. But I feel like for some of you guys, this is about working through these fears. You guys have a lot of these fears and Spirit is bringing it up at that. You guys need to work through them. You need to kind of just get over them and just be bold. It's kind of like, you know, I have been bungee jumping, and when you're standing up there, like, there's never a moment when you're like, I just really, really, really want to jump off this freaking thing, this ledge, and jump down 300 feet onto the ground. And even though, you know you have a harness on, you're still going to be up there and like, that's the last thing you want to do is jump off the platform. But you got to do it, right? It doesn't necessarily feel good. It doesn't necessarily feel like, woohoo, I'm really excited to do this. But you jump, and then it's like, you know, obviously it's scary for a few seconds, but then the thing catches you, the rope catches you, and then it's okay. So I feel like, you know, this is a message that sometimes you just gotta be bold. You just gotta do it, even if it does make you nervous, even if you are a little bit on edge. I feel like the message is go for it. And you don't have to see the end. You don't have to imagine or understand how it's all going to work out. You just have to understand that it will work out. You just have to have the boldness inside of you of like, I am going to do this, whether I can see the end result or not. Sometimes those things that we can't fully understand or see end up being the absolute best possible outcome for us. In fact, most of the time, I find the biggest blessings and destinies for me have come in situations where I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, what? I don't think, no, I don't think that's going to work out for me. Or like, I don't really know how this, like, I'm not able to see the vision, or I'm not expecting whatever comes in, and it just comes in randomly from Spirit. But always I've been willing to go along with it at that time. So we don't have to fully understand what's going on. We just have to have that cooperation of like, okay, I'll trust you, and going along with what Spirit says. But I do feel like a lot of you guys are great communicators. And so again, this might involve some kind of communication, putting that out there with the universe, sharing your thoughts, your perspective, your visions, your dreams. I feel like a lot of you guys, you might be great communicators. You might be great writers or speakers, but I really do feel like luck is going to be on your side with this, with full moon in Sag. You might find that like the stuff that took people a lot longer comes really easily to you. You might find that people expected that, it was going to take X amount of time and you do it in half the time. Because when luck is on your side, that is unbeatable. And I do feel like you guys have that right now. So I just think the message is for you guys to go for it. I just think this is so positive. And if you have been going through a really tough time, know that it's going to be ending soon and you guys are going to have all these blessings, but you've got to be willing to play ball and really go for it in order for the blessings to come in. So we also got the universe rewards emotion. What guided action can you take today? Trust your faith, dive into the unfolding journey. What is your faith asking of you? Things are not what they seem. You are only trapped by your illusion. What freedom do you seek? Leader of the light, where are you being called to serve and support others? And this is not your practice life. Decide, what is your inner voice telling you about the dream in your heart? So this is such a powerful message. Like, it's not your practice life. We don't get multiple, maybe we get multiple lives, but keep in mind that this is like, there's so many people that wish they could incarnate on earth. It takes a while to incarnate on earth. And so I feel like for a lot of you guys, you need to really take this seriously. Think of how precious life is, how short it is. And remember that when you start feeling complacent or like, oh, this is maybe just good enough. No, think bigger, dream bigger. Think about serving out your highest destiny. Meditate on, what did I come to this earth to do? What is my special gift that only I have? Again, this is something that you can glean from looking at your astrology chart. But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is about really thinking deeply about what you can share with the world, and something that spirit has been tugging you on about, like, you're really good at this. You should share this with the world. People would appreciate this content. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be leaders. You're going to have people that are really interested in what you say, and maybe they follow you, like literally maybe they're followers, and maybe they get really excited when you post whatever it is, and maybe it's content that only you can provide. Again, I think there's so many different ways to provide inspiring content to people, to share your light with the world. But as this card says, the universe rewards motion. You can't just expect to have these blessings if you're not actually like doing the work and you're not actually putting yourself out there. So if you guys have been on the fence about this and have been feeling called to it, but really scared, I think this is a really strong message that you just need to go for it. You just need to push forward. And I feel like you are going to be really rewarded if you guys do that. So trust your faith, dive into the unfolding journey. It's time for a lot of you guys to just make that step, push yourself a little bit on this, because I feel like there's all this success and abundance waiting at the end of this rainbow, but it's like, it's going to be scary taking those first steps. It's going to be scary taking, the very beginning of the journey. You don't really necessarily know how it's going to end, but if anything, it's always going to be an adventure. So I feel like some of you guys, maybe you've been feeling stagnant in what you're doing, or there's something you can level up. There's something you can make it more intimate, or you can make it more, showing more of like your truth, your deepest version of yourself. And I feel like this is definitely pushing you towards that. So let me get some additional cards for you guys. So let me shuffle from this deck. Can we get some messages for pile 3? So we got hostilities, angel of strength, the thinking woman. Okay. Door to value. So that is a money, success, abundance card. So again, with this message of money, success, and abundance, and the temple path. So this is a really special spiritual journey that a lot of you guys are on. A lot of you guys, you might be thinking about the kind of content you have been thinking of putting out and be like, oh, there's nothing spiritual about that. Like, I'm going to post video games or something like that. But again, you never really know how your stuff will affect people. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, there's something so special you have to share with the world. This is just, I think really this card, it's about being a lot bolder and not letting, if someone has been hostile or has been putting negative self-talk into your mind, has been saying stuff about like, I think, there's people who say things about like YouTubers, like all YouTubers are narcissists, or like, oh, like YouTubers are so stupid. And, it's like you've got to like have that inner core of strength of blocking information out. Like, I don't, like, who cares what you think? You don't necessarily know what's going on. You don't necessarily know what my destiny, what my path is. Only I can hear what spirit tells me to do. Same with you guys. Only we individually can only hear what spirit has to say to us, right? So if spirit is calling you to do something, that's when you need to listen, and that's when you need to lean towards it. And if someone else has something negative to say, then that's fine. They can be on their journey. But if spirit is telling you something and you feel it in the depths of your soul, that's what you have to pay attention to. So I feel like spirit has been putting these thoughts into your head. I feel like spirit has been giving you these visions, and now this is your time when you have to kind of pick up the ball and run with it, pay attention, and step towards it really strongly, because I think there's going to be a lot of success from this. But it's all up to you guys. It's all about you having the courage and the boldness to go for that, to go for this, and know that your angels are on your side. You guys have a lot of angelic help and help on the other side from your ancestors, from your guides. I really feel like you guys just need to have this reassurance that you are going to succeed, that the things you have been hearing in your head, or the inclinations you've been having about like, I should really put this out there in some way, whatever this is, even if it's something like I should go to med school, or I should go to law school, or whatever, or I should write this small little thing, even if it's like a fanfic or whatever, do it, like put it out there and let spirit take it over. Like, I feel like it's kind of like you do your part and spirit does the rest, right? So you take care of like putting out whatever you can, and then let spirit take care of how it gets received, who finds it, who stumbles across it, and ask spirit to guide the right people to the path, to your stuff, so that you have that support, so that you have the people that really recognize you and enjoy you. Because I know whenever I talk to you guys, like when I in a private session, I'm always like, oh my God, I had the best people, literally, the best, the absolute best people who watch my stuff. And like, I never really would have predicted that, because I don't know, I just feel like YouTube can have some crazy people watching. Like, there's like the comment sections are always crazy, but I feel like spirit guides the right people around you. So trust and believe that if you do your part, spirit will do the rest with connecting you with the people that need to see your stuff and will benefit from it. So yeah, I feel like you guys are going to have a lot of success, and you need that encouragement. You need to know that. But you guys, if you can step towards this with boldness, the sky is the limit. You guys are going to have success. You're going to get the attention you want and that you deserve, and all the good things, the money, the success, the abundance. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with wanting that, because I think our society tends to shame that. Like, oh, this person wants money, so they're greedy. This person wants people to see their content, so they're a narcissist. Well, of course, everyone wants people to see their content. I mean, you wouldn't make it if it's just going to be like played against the wall. You wouldn't just talk to the wall or like talk to your dog for 5 hours. Like, obviously, if you're going to make content, you want people to see it, and all of us want to have success and money, and there's nothing wrong with that. So don't let people, like, if that's been holding you back, some of that negative talk that so many people give, time to blot that out and just focus on the desire you have and the things spirit has put in your heart, because that's what you should focus on. People can judge, but again, one of my favorite quotes, and if they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile up, because it's irrelevant. They can hate all they want, but they can't stop your destiny when you're stepping towards it and serving it out in the way that spirit loves to see. So I really hope that helped, pile 3. Let me know if it resonated. What a beautiful, positive energy for you guys. I love this. And make sure to give this reading a big thumbs up as well. Turn on those notifications and subscribe, of course. And also, if you want to check out my Patreon, I have additional readings over there, including my last one, which is a fun, tipsy reading all about your future spouse. We had a couple glasses of wine and then did the reading. So it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Link is in my bio for that if you want to join us over there. I am sending you guys so much love and light, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey Pile 4, so if you guys picked this sparkler card, this is going to be your reading. So for your tarot, you guys got the King of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Temperance, Queen of Cups, Page of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and Five of Cups. So the message I'm getting straight off the bat is that for some of you guys, you might be considering leaving a certain situation behind. The situation might have to do with work, possibly family or friends, and living situation as well. I'm getting work and living situation really strongly for a lot of you guys. And there might be a message for you guys that this is indeed a good instinct that you have to leave this situation behind, that it is good for you guys to make a move and kind of put this in the past. But also, like, don't worry too much about the timeline, because maybe you have to be a little patient here, but like it will happen. So if you have been stressing out about like, oh my God, it's never going to happen, I'm never going to get out of this, you will. And don't worry too much about it. Of course, take those active steps to like move yourself out of it. But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is just a deep emotional drain for some of you. And there is a message here that you might need to look after your emotional health a little bit more. You guys might be empaths and very emotionally open in this pile. With the Queen of Cups, you guys might be quite psychic and picking up on other people's psychic interference. And this is why it's a really good idea to always have some good spiritual hygiene. I always say to empathic people during my private readings and stuff, like, are you taking spiritual baths? Because it's kind of like you would never go without a shower for like 5 weeks, you know what I mean? But plenty of people will not take a spiritual bath in their whole life, or they will never sage their space, or they'll sage it every few months. And it's like, it's just like your actual physical body, your spiritual body. You want to take those steps to make sure you're clean, you're rejuvenated. And there's so many different ways you can do that. One of the best ways is if you have a bathtub to take a spiritual bath. So you can fill it with water and then put Epsom salt in there. And I like to say Psalm 23 over it 3 times and ask all my angels to just cleanse my body of any negative energy, negativity, all of that. You also want to make sure you're saging. You can also buy sprays and stuff online to cleanse your energy. But I just feel like a lot of you guys, you need to get rid of some of this energy, because it's like you're absorbing it from other people. You might be living in a place where there's a lot of people around you and the energy is just kind of cluttered and like you're feeling drained. And you should know that this is temporary. So don't be too upset about it. Don't be like letting it get the best of you, because sometimes we can get in our head about a certain situation and it almost makes it worse. Like we'll ruminate about like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna recover from this. I can't believe it. I have to deal with this. I feel so stressed out. And it's like, you'll be fine. Don't make it worse by being in your head and convincing yourself that like it's all going bad. I do feel like you guys will be leaving this situation. You will be moving. You will be making a change. So don't feel like you're going to be stuck in this forever. But these spiritual hygiene techniques that we can learn and make a habit of will benefit us for such a long time. So sometimes it's actually a benefit to go through these hard times, because then we pick up these habits of like, I'm going to take a spiritual bath every few days, and I'm going to, sage my space every 3 days or whatever it is. I mean, I actually, since I started doing private readings and stuff, I will sage my house or my apartment every single day or every few days. And I find that the energy is just so much better in general. Like it just is really nice now that I've been saging every single day, to feel the energy constantly cleared of any negativity. So I didn't even realize like the difference that was making. I would sage regularly, but not this regularly. And it really does just clear everything out and make it better. So I feel like for some of you guys, you need to pick up those habits, those spiritual habits of clearing your space, and almost like also telling yourself the message that these emotions are not for you. You might find yourself in a really bad mood sometimes inexplicably. Like you come home from work and you're just, it's like, as my mom would say, there's a bee in your bonnet. So I don't know what that means, but I guess it means you're just in a random bad mood about nothing. And you're like, where does this come from? Why am I suddenly getting so mad? Okay, are you picking up the energies from people around you? Are you in a really good mood when you go to work, but then you're talking to your negative coworker and next thing you know, your energy is feeling down? Because if that's the case, it's really great to have some spiritual protection up. Envisioning ourselves surrounded in a bubble of white light can be a really important spiritual protection practice as well. Wearing black crystals, black tourmaline, obsidian, can be also helpful. But I do see you guys leaving this situation, but it's almost like we need to learn to have these protections up, because I feel like you are supposed to be out in the world, like experiencing things, going through it, and your spiritual abilities are a gift. So spirit doesn't want you just holing up in your room in hermit mode as avoiding this. It's like you got to learn how to confront it, how to deal with it. And I feel like you guys will come out of this a lot better, but it's almost like you're being strengthened during this journey. You are being kind of put through your paces a little bit. So I know it's hard, but I feel like you guys are going to benefit and come out, like I said, so much stronger. So let's get some more additional cards. So we also got stars in the sky, limitless possibility, moon maidens, new beginnings, a tidy house, clean, clarity and organization, and feast of plenty, choices and their consequences. So for some of you guys, this might be about cleaning your house and just getting more organized. That's another thing that can really affect the energy in a space, is like if there's a ton of clutter, can actually like plug in the negative energy, because negative energy kind of likes to hide in like the shadows and the tiny little corners. So if we have like a bunch of random stuff just like laying around, especially like trash and old stuff that's going to be thrown out, that literally can carry negative energy. And that's why a lot of times you'll find when you take out the trash, if you're sensitive to energy, you come back in and you're just like, it feels better. Even if the trash was in the trash can, you know, hopefully it was, but you still just find the energy to be lighter because you got rid of that energy that was hanging around. So all things have energy. So when we clean, when we organize, when we wipe down the counters, this might be a call for you guys to do like a little bit of a spring cleaning or something like that. We feel a lot better. And Taurus season is such a great time for us to pay attention to the physical space we live in and to make it look more beautiful, to beautify it. Also, Venus is conjunct Jupiter right now. So talk about a benefic energy of spreading beauty and making us feel the need to beautify things. So if you guys are feeling called to spruce up your space or to clean, to organize things, one thing I love to do, and I mentioned this in a post, is like after I sage, I usually open all my windows and my, balcony and stuff, so that all the new, fresh, beautiful spring air can come in. And so that my apartment doesn't just smell like the sage, but actually smells like beautiful, fresh morning or night air. And it just smells so good, because I actually don't really love the smell of sage. That's why I used to not do it that often. So I'm kind of sensitive to it. So I'll usually sage before I leave. And then when I come back, the air is nice and clean and beautiful, and, just smells amazing. It smells so fresh and kind of, like I love that spring feeling in the air. It just has its own particular smell. So that might be a really great habit for you guys to do. But I do feel like you guys are going to have some new beginnings, a fresh start. For a lot of you guys, this is a move of some kind. So either moving to a different role or a different job, something like that, or a different apartment or house or living situation. So if you have felt stagnant in your current situation, or you're wanting a move, or you're considering a move, this is a definite confirmation that you will. So it's always a great idea to get those ducks in a row of like, okay, I'm going to start thinking about where I want to move. I'm going to start researching apartment buildings or houses or whatever you guys, are into. That's, it's great to get the jump start on that, so that it's not some rushed process. So maybe you guys are going to be researching places to move to, or paying attention to that, or thinking about like getting new furniture, or thinking about putting out your resume. But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is a few months off. So I feel like you'll have time. This is a general reading. So for some of you guys, it could be happening right away. But for a lot of you guys, it may be like a little bit in the distance. And so if that's the case, again, just prepare yourself and get ready, because it feels like this is a really, really positive change. And I feel like you guys are going to have more of an ability to focus on money, to focus on manifesting, to focus on getting this feast of plenty energy with lots of abundance. And yeah, there's limitless possibilities here. So I do feel like a lot of you guys, this also might be with your relationships with people. Maybe you have felt like there's certain people around you that don't have your best intentions at heart, or just don't understand you. And maybe you were hoping for new romantic relationships or new friendships and stuff like that. And I feel like the message here is you will get those, but also with temperance coming in, like just be a little bit patient. Know that like good things take time. Sometimes it's a matter of putting out that intention and that manifestation, but then we have to have the patience to wait for it to bloom. Like you wouldn't plant a seed and then be like, it's not working. Oh my God, it's not happening. What the heck is going on? The universe hates me. I'm never going to get this. Like, and that's the thing is like, what you planted, what you've been putting out there manifestation wise, that you've been manifesting a certain thing. So trust that, like, believe that. Like when you plant, a zucchini plant, or when you plant some kale, that when you go out into your garden, you're not going to find an apple tree growing, or like a mango tree, or, a watermelon or something. That whatever you planted, it's going to be there. You're not going to find something else. So you don't have to worry too much about like when your manifestations don't happen overnight. Just accept and expect that they are going to happen in a really positive way, and that you are going to get that thing that you wanted. But that, again, those things just take a minute, and we have to have the patience and understanding that things take time, but they will happen. And a lot of times it's just about having that patience and kind of moderating our expectations, not getting overwrought and getting into an energy of like, it has to happen. It isn't happening. It hasn't happened in X time, so it's never going to happen. But welcoming in that new beginnings take time to like align in the right way, right? Like, if you want quality, then maybe it's going to take a little bit longer. Like sometimes when you go to a restaurant, like if you want a souffle, they'll tell you like order it at the beginning of your meal, because they take like 40 minutes to cook at least. So if you like finish eating everything and then you're like, oh, I want a souffle, you can't get mad 5 minutes later when everyone else is eating their ice cream and their, brownie sundae or whatever, and you're still waiting on your souffle. The souffle is extra special, so it's going to take 40 minutes. And so you got to tell them when you arrive. And the same thing is going on here, is like sometimes when we want like a really great relationship, a really great partner, or a great job, or a great friendship, we have to know that like sometimes, not always, it's going to take a little bit longer. But as long as we're putting that manifestation out in the correct way, and we know that we're manifesting that right thing, that we're actively working on it and putting effort in, because we did get Page of Wands and Page of Pentacles. So that says to me that for a lot of you guys, you're going to be putting enthusiasm and effort into this. You're not just going to be like coasting and just chilling. You actually are going to be putting your effort into it. As long as we're doing that and we're doing all the work we can do, then we shouldn't stress out about the timeline. I feel like for a lot of you guys, you have been putting the work in, you have been manifesting this. So know that any change that might happen, whether you leave your job, you move somewhere else, whatever, it's all positive. It's all for your best and highest good. So yeah, I feel like just trust in the process, you guys. So we also got Bluebird Spirit Happiness, Butterfly Spirit Transformation, Standing Stones Passage, and Air Spirit Knowledge. So I do feel like a lot of you guys are transforming. I'm almost feeling like I'm getting a message that for some of you guys, you're just a lot more energetically sensitive and kind of like pickier now than you were in the past. Like I'm feeling like for some of you guys, you maybe in the past were that person who was just very open to everyone, really friendly, really nice. And suddenly you found yourself like, oh my God, I can't deal with this person. Or I recognize now that they're a little bit more toxic. You might be more sensitive to energy than you were before. And I feel like a lot of you in this pile, you're going through an energetic glow up, or you did in the past. And it's almost like the things you could deal with before and kind of turn a blind eye to, now you're so much more aware and acute, and you have this deeper knowledge. And so that's one of the things that's kind of the downside of like a spiritual glow up, is like you will a lot of times find yourself way more sensitive to things than you were before. So in the past, maybe you could kind of turn a blind eye to like that annoying coworker who's really dysfunctional and really annoying. And now you're like, oh my gosh, this is getting on my last nerve. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of like when your sense of, like if your sense of smell suddenly became a lot better, you would be way more sensitive, and it would probably be harder for you to be around people than before. Whereas before, maybe you could just, be around someone who hasn't showered in a while and it wouldn't bother you. Now you're going to be smelling it like, oh my gosh, this is bad. Sometimes that happens to pregnant women. Like they liked a certain food, but now they smell it and they're like, oh, it's horrible. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means you're smarter about it. You have more knowledge. Your ability to discern is more acute now. So I feel like a lot of you guys, you're glowing up spiritually. You're getting this deeper knowledge. And again, this is a really good thing. Look at it as a period of growth and understand that that's pointing you in the right direction. So if suddenly you're pickier or you don't want to spend time with certain people or you're feeling like being in hermit mode a little bit, that's okay, right? It's okay to go through these growth periods and to change what we like about people. And maybe you were friends with someone for a really long time and suddenly you're just like, I just can't deal with them. You shouldn't feel guilty or try to force yourself to make it work or blame them. Sometimes it's not even them. It's not even that they're doing anything bad. It's just that we're not necessarily in alignment with them anymore. Maybe we've grown in certain ways, whatever. But the point is embrace and welcome in that change and know that, again, it's happening for your good. And it is a sign that you guys are glowing up and becoming spiritually more advanced. So I feel like a lot of you guys have been going through a period of like spiritual knowledge, spiritual downloads, that kind of a thing. Maybe you guys were going through a dark night of the soul or something like this. But on the other side of this, I feel like you guys are kind of getting a lot more in touch with your happiness. I'm seeing you guys put up better boundaries, to be honest. Like I feel like in the past, if someone invited you to go somewhere and you didn't want to go, you would just kind of grin and bear it and put a smile on your face and just kind of show up and, make the best of it. But now I'm seeing you guys turn down invitations or be like, I actually feel like doing this. And being more comfortable kind of standing in your truth. A lot of empaths start out as people pleasers. They start out as being very aware of like what everyone else says, what everyone else is feeling, and very kind of tiptoeing around everyone else's emotions. And then I feel like when empaths go through this period of being kind of fed up, they start for the first time really getting in touch with what they actually like, what they want. And so it's kind of an exciting time. It's kind of like being a kid again, because they're actually asking themselves like, well, does that actually make me feel good? Or no, is that my interest or not? And sometimes they go through a period of rediscovery of like childhood stuff. Like they'll suddenly find themselves, maybe they collected like toy cars when they were a little kid and suddenly they want to start collecting those again. Or maybe they loved to ride their bike when they were a little kid and they find themselves doing that. Or they love to make up recipes in the kitchen when they were, a teenager, and now they're doing that again. So all those things are a good sign that you're doing the spiritual work, and it's okay to be a little bit gentle with yourself. I feel like some of you guys, again, you have a lot of people around you that kind of use you as, I don't want to say an emotional punching bag, but almost like they don't know they're doing anything bad, but they just emotionally dump on you. Like you guys are such great empaths. You're so good at like talking to people, understanding them, being empathetic, that they end up telling you all their problems and they leave the conversation feeling a lot better and you leave the conversation feeling really drained. So I feel like now you guys are starting to pay attention to that. Like, okay, as soon as she came over and started venting about her boyfriend for the 7th time this week, when she left, I had no energy afterwards. And that's okay to realize that and to start putting up boundaries. And next time, your coworker comes over and is like, so you're not going to believe what Andy did now. You just say, like, oh my gosh, I would love to hear, but honestly, I'm so busy with work. I don't have time. But maybe we can catch up later. Or honestly say something like, to be honest with you, I am so stressed out about my own life. I can't even have a conversation about anything negative. Like I'm so sorry to tell you, I'm not trying to be harsh, but the only conversations I can literally have right now are just only positive. So like, I would love to have a conversation with you if you're going to say something positive, but I just cannot hear any more venting about Andy. I am so sorry, but I'm just like so overwhelmed. And you can say it in a positive way, but learning to put up those boundaries for yourself is a really great way to grow up. And hopefully sometimes you don't actually have to like say stuff like that. You can just kind of, make an excuse or something like that. But I think it's so important when you're an empath to learn to put up boundaries and protect your energy. Because yes, we have endless energy, but it takes time to kind of regrow, our energy, to build it back up. So when we can learn to kind of preemptively prevent it, and also it's an art to doing it in a diplomatic way. So the person isn't feeling like they are gonna get super angry and they're really hurt by you and like, I can't believe she said that, but in a way that's like nice to them, but also putting up boundaries. Like, listen, babe, I love you so much, but we've been talking so much about, your own problems. And honestly, every time we do, I just get so stressed out, and I love you, but can we try to just have a positive conversation? Or, I would love to hang out, but honestly, I'm really busy. I can maybe see you from this time, but like, I can't stay up until 12 a.m. consoling you tonight because I have to go into work at 6 a.m. So I just can't. I can't go into work exhausted. So learning to have those conversations preemptively is such a key part of being an empath and being compassionate to others, because inevitably when you don't have those conversations, it leads to a blow up, right? When you just stuff it down, repress it, try to push past it, try to pretend like everything's fine, inevitably you're going to have that moment when you're like, I can't deal with this anymore. And you kind of like say something mean, or you just ice them out completely. And maybe they didn't even know they were doing anything wrong. They didn't have bad intentions. Maybe they're just going through a lot and they were kind of dumping on you, but they didn't mean to, and so it's like, it's so much better to avoid that by just being like, hey, listen, this is what I kind of can emotionally give to you right now. And I hope that's okay. I love you. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be harsh. Like my friends know that like, I'm not the best texter, to be honest. And sometimes I will text someone back late and like, they're okay with that because they know that I'm a Pisces and that's just how I am. And I love that they know that. And I love that I can like not text them back for like 2 days and they're not going to be like flipping out on me and being really upset. And I've had other people that are like, I was friends with, and then they got mad that I didn't text them back right away. And I was like, this can't work for me, because I sometimes need to like check out, go into like Pisces mode and just be in my own little worlds, And so the friends I have that I'm the closest to are understanding of that. And I'm understanding of them too. When they don't text me back right away, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's fine, because you want to give that other person the kind of leeway to make mistakes sometimes, and not everyone is perfect. And I just feel like for some of you guys, you need to like let them know. Like sometimes people can panic and freak out when you're not responsive. And so it's good for them to know, like, it's nothing against you. That's just how I am, or it's nothing against you. I just need a little time to myself and I need a little bit of space, because I feel like you guys are just getting really burnt out in this pile. So let me get some additional cards. So we also got take time to breathe out. What the heck? Did I just say I feel like you guys need time to breathe out? I don't know. I don't want to like pause this to rewind, but I literally feel like I said something exactly like that. It was very similar. That is so creepy, because I literally I shuffled them first, but then I don't like remember exactly what each of them are. And then this is the second time this has happened in these readings, where like I literally said the message on the card and then pulled out the card. I feel like Houdini or something, but I truly do not. I'm not like acting. I didn't. I just can't believe it. It's so funny. Spirit's crazy. So disseminating moon, and then a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer, step out of your comfort zone, north node, nothing will come of the situation, void, of course, moon. So I feel like for some of you guys, this is kind of about, I feel like stepping into your comfort zone, into like being aware of how you feel, what makes you feel good. Because once we have that internal compass of like, I feel this is my baseline. Sometimes when we're surrounded with dysfunctional people, like a dysfunctional family, we have a dysfunctional workplace, that kind of a thing. We don't even know what what it feels like to be normal. Like we don't even know what we feel like without the level of stress. We don't even know what it feels like to feel good, to feel happy, to be in our own energy, because we're so plugged into someone else's energy and we're so plugged into the dysfunction. And I feel like one of the best things that can happen to someone who grew up with like a dysfunctional childhood or dysfunctional family doesn't even have to be like the family from hell. It can just be like, codependent mom or a dad that is emotionally needy or whatever. But the kid is constantly empaths. A lot of time, I'll be honest, get born into this kind of family where they're kind of like a de facto parent and they're always talking to their parents about their own issues. And so a lot of times that child can grow up and they don't even know how they feel about a certain thing. They don't even know what it's like to be in a place of calm, to be in a place of like, and then you can't hear any of those messages from spirit when you're so stressed out like that. Because we need to be in a kind of calm place with our nervous system to hear these messages from spirit. When we're rushing around, trying in everyone else's energy, trying to fix this, trying to fix that, trying to help this person with that, we don't actually get the time to listen to like, I like this. This makes me feel good. I enjoy this. I think that's one of the biggest things about being an adult is like, you get to eat whatever you want, right? You don't have to like eat what your parents say. You don't have to be home at a certain time. If you're a night owl, you can be a night owl. If you like to eat, all takeout, you can do that. These might not necessarily be the healthiest things that you want to maintain forever, but I think for some of you guys, this is about finding like what really brings you joy and brings you happiness and stepping into that. With the full moon in Cancer card, I really do feel like a lot of you guys might be empaths because, moon in Cancer is a very empathic placement, a highly emotional placement. And when you have a lot of water in your chart, especially Pisces and Cancer, you might not have a lot of natural protection against other people's emotions. And when you're the full moon in Cancer too, moon in Cancer placements, it can often be a role of a mother or a caretaker kind of vibe to the people around you because Cancer and moon energy is the mother. So you can end up mothering people. This could also be other placements as well. But it's just, that's what's coming through to me is like a lot of you guys might mother the people around you. They might be the ones that are always coming to you with their stress and you're kind of looking after them and you're like talking them through their issues. And so I feel like you need this kind of place of peace where you guys are like, oh, this makes me feel good. I enjoy this. It's taking some time to breathe out and relax and rest and just chill. And I do feel like you guys might get guidance that like it's time to leave this in the past. It's time to leave this behind, whether it's a work situation or a living situation or possibly those relationships. And know that if that's the case and you get those downloads, that is a-okay. And everything good, it will be a blessing to leave this behind because we got void, of course, moon, nothing will come of this situation. So it feels like right now, as things are currently in this current sitch, it's not necessarily the best for you. So I do feel like stepping out of it, leaving it in the past is going to benefit you immensely. And I feel like sometimes another thing that can happen, and I'm just getting this download, is that when we glow up, the people that have been dependent on us kind of get upset. Like it's like they've been dependent on us for whatever reason. Sometimes it's just that, a lot of empaths notice this when they first make these changes, when they first start paying attention to like, I like this, I feel good with this. And they start trying to put up boundaries and they're kind of clumsy about it, is it like really enrages the people around them. Because those people, it's kind of like the terms of the relationship were always written under this rule of like, you're going to help me out emotionally. You're going to always be there for me. I'm going to dump all my needs on you. You're okay with that. And sometimes, I'll be honest, there is an element of transaction there. So it's not all one-sided. It's like for whatever reason, you're engaging in this practice because you get something in return, right? Maybe you are having anxiety. Maybe you grew up in a family where your parents were always stressed out all the time and you would help them work through their arguments and you only feel relaxed when everyone's getting along and everyone's happy with you. And you get immense anxiety when you feel someone's annoyed. So you end up being the people pleaser in the office and going around and talking to this person and talking to that person and helping this person with this. And that's a way for you to regulate your own nervous system, right? So you're getting a payment, if that makes sense. Even though it's not really a fair payment, you're getting something out of that, right? You are getting that feeling of like, okay, everything's fine. And they're giving you that in return for all your emotional labor. And so a lot of it is just being conscious of this. And then you can decide, do I want to stay in this? Is this a good deal for me or not? It's probably not a great deal, right? You were getting something out of it, but it's probably not actually like a super fair exchange. So partially it's about kind of renegotiating that contract, learning how to gently ask someone to like, hey, I want to kind of change the terms. Like if you were going to change a business deal, you wouldn't just come in and rip it up and just throw it in the trash and not say a word to anyone. You'd have to go in and be like, hey, listen, I know I signed off on this deal where I get 10% of profits, you get 90%, and I'm doing all the work. But I feel like it's not really fair and maybe we can renegotiate. You've got to go in and or you don't have to, but I think it goes a lot easier when you're willing to like gently say these things to them. And it's also okay sometimes to just put up a boundary and just be like, oh, I can't hang, sorry, I'm busy. But if you're forced to deal with this person on a regular basis, if you're forced to see them day in, day out, sometimes it's better just to keep it calm, keep it casual, keep it cool. And I feel like for some of you guys, this is just about you kind of finally putting your foot down about situations that have been a little unfair. So we also got deep inward journey. You will be rewarded for the work. How can you alchemize your fear? You heal by releasing, not suppressing. What emotions do you need to feel? You are the joy seeker. What little victories can you celebrate? And rise above. It's not yours to carry. You are an empath. And that's exactly it. You guys are empaths in this pile, and it's not really yours to carry. And I feel like you guys are finally figuring that out and making the journey of a lifetime. So first of all, I want to celebrate that you guys have made this realization and you're not just being an empath and carrying around someone else's baggage and someone else's emotions that were never yours to carry. So this is a really celebratory period, even though it may feel painful to go through this growth and you might be like, oh my God, I'm losing friends left and right. Trust that the right people will come in, and you being more sensitive to that shows that you're leveling up. Again, it's like if you had no sense of smell, you could sit in a trash pile. Literally, you could live in a trash pile. You could sit in a dumpster. You could, just sit there and be happy as a clam. But when you get a sensitive sense of smell, when you're able to smell the difference between that trash pile and a bed of roses, you're definitely going to want to head over to the bed of roses. So know that, like, again, that's a good thing. Know that you guys are going to be heading over to a bed of roses. You're going to actually benefit from this so much. It may feel temporarily like you're losing, but think of it as like, no offense, I'm not trying to be harsh to the people around you. I'm not saying they're trash, but think of it as just like you're growing, you're becoming smarter about this. You're not putting yourself in situations with people that aren't going to give you what you deserve. You're becoming a lot more aware of what you deserve and what you can have, because you can have that bed of roses in relationships. You can have those relationships where people give to you exactly what you get, or vice versa. You get exactly what you give. And you can also have relationships with people that you never feel drained afterwards. You only feel energized. You only feel peaceful. But this is a lot about releasing it, understanding those emotions and letting them flow up to the surface, letting yourself feel grief or pain or whatever. Because again, I'm just getting this vibe. For some of you guys, you grew up in a family that was like a little dysfunctional, and people who kind of imposed upon you and relied on you, they would kind of dump their emotions on you. You were kind of the parent, even though you were the child. You know what I mean? Not everyone, but somewhere along the way, for a lot of you guys, you had situations with people that it wasn't necessarily the most healthy way to grow up. It wasn't like you got to just be this kid who just got to figure out their destiny. You were very busy looking after other people. And now I feel like you're coming to a place where you get to decide. And it says you are the joy seeker. What little victories can you celebrate? So to me, this is about you guys celebrating your progress and also finding what gives you joy, finding what makes you happy and what makes you feel your highest and best self, and understanding that you deserve that just as much as anyone else. Just like everyone else deserves to feel happy, and you are this empath who always runs around, hoping this person's doing good, hoping that person's doing good. Extend that same energy to yourself and think about what makes you feel happy and empowered and joyful and good and peaceful, and then step towards that. But I want you guys to really reward yourself for the work you've done and the work you are still going to be doing, and welcome in this journey journey as a really positive step forward for you. I feel like the angels are cheering in heaven for you guys because you're doing very spiritual, deep ancestral work, maybe changing ancestral patterns and karma, but it's like this is such a benefit and a blessing. I feel like just cheering for you guys because I feel like you guys are really living your own life for the first time and really stepping into your destiny and thinking about what brings you joy, not necessarily running around after others. So this is such an exciting time for you guys. This is so amazing. And even though other people might be a little bit mad about it at the time, it's only because they were so adapted to kind of getting your energy for free. And now they're going to have to realize that you're not just giving it away like that anymore. You're actually looking after yourself now. You're actually paying attention to the kind of equal exchange in the relationship. You're not just going to give and get nothing back. You're going to pay attention to like, how do I feel afterwards? Okay, we talked about their problems for 30 minutes and then I brought up my problems and they changed the subject a minute later. So that's not really fair. So I feel like it's a high time that you guys started paying attention to these things. And I feel like this is just really positive. But again, it just might be easier for you guys if like do it gently, like put those boundaries down, but learn to be like diplomatic, but firm. That's the advice I could say. Cause I definitely, when I started putting boundaries up, sometimes I was a little too blunt or not blunt, but like, I would just like be like, okay, that's it. And it's better when you can just be like kind of like gentle with someone and be like, hey, like I know I'm just really busy and I would love to see you, but we just got to promise we only can talk about positive because I'm just overwhelmed this time. So anyway, I don't know if that's how I would say it, but you got to find a way to say it diplomatically, and it's a lot easier than just kind of laying down the hammer, if that makes sense. So anyway, I really hope this helped. Pile 4, let me know if it did in the comments, and make sure to give it a big thumbs up as well and turn on those notifications and subscribe, of course. And if you want to check out my Patreon, I have my tipsy reading for what is your future spouse going to be like, all about your future spouse, but it's a tipsy reading. So we had a couple glasses of wine beforehand, so it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out if you want to join that party over there. Link is in my bio for my Patreon if you want to see that. But I am sending you guys so much love and light. I hope you all have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.